Happy Monday, my beautiful people. Bear with me a little today and my grumpy ass. I'm still very under the weather. I had to go see my specialist this morning, so I'm a little late, obviously, for obvious reasons of having had to go to the doctor and back. And I have to leave a little early today. Oh, you're gonna see what the people of the sewer. So I have to leave a little early today to get the kids from school and my sister because I have to drop something off at the post office for someone. Finally, because I have been waiting to be able to get there. So it's been a long week. I apologize for being just under the weather a little. And I didn't want to do today's gonna be a shorter live, so I didn't want to do the just on route stuff today just because there is so much of it. I don't want to shortcut it, so I might actually do like a second live later tonight just to start like some of that. But for now, we're gonna do what happened with last night and the sewer crew shit that happened today and the shit show that is unfolding in that sense, my friends. So bear with me a little. I think you guys need to see this clip because I know we don't often watch the Sewer Turtle, but I would like to give a message to this poor lady, Karen, that we will not tell her to die in a hole, right? We will not tell her to die in a hole. I promise this poor lady, Karen, who I think her name was Karen. I feel like I want to say it was Karen, but this poor lady, Karen, person who was in Aidan's chat, we will not tell you to die in a hole here. Shout out to YBE for the clip. If you haven't seen Narcissist in its full glory, folks, this would be it. This would be it. So Aidan bitches and whines here about how, first of all, I called it, I knew it, and doing that fucking interview was a dumb, stupid, ridiculous idea that if I was Tim Bradle, I would have never, ever, 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 ever had my client Kelsey Fitzsimmons do. I would have said, stay away from Turtleboy as far as you can fucking humanly get, because anything around this man turns to shit. That's why his name is the Sewer Turtle and the Sewer Crew, okay? So, stay far the fuck away. But no, do you think Tim did the thing that's best for his client? Nope, he did the best thing that's best for his goddamn. I got an honorable mention? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. They're just mad because I have their number. That's the bottom line, is they're mad I have their number, right? Tim is an unethical piece of shit. Bottom line. And there is no saying that he's not, dude. You had to go through an entire BBO thing for hiding evidence as a prosecutor that kept a man in jail for 18 fucking years. You are an unethical piece of shit. You hid Aidan's phones from the court and lied to the court. You're an unethical piece of shit. That's not an opinion. That's an actual fucking fact. Tim Bradle is an unethical piece of shit. Period. He can say what he wants. That's a fact. That is a fact. Oh, I did see that. That's part of this. That's where, let's get into the hello, my beautiful, amazing. I'm just like, today, I'm sick today. I was sick yesterday. I had a really bad week in general. Like, again, I'm a small show, so I, do what I can to keep this train running. But sometimes it just almost seems like it's never enough when you have someone like this person piling shit on top of you, sending people to, dirty your name and do shit. It's what he does 24/7. Even if you don't see him doing it publicly, he's doing it privately. And so I battle that. I battle that on a daily fucking basis while trying to run a show and do all the health stuff and do it all. I try to do it all. And I try to do it with my head held high. And if I have a bad week or a bad day, I'm just like, suck it up, Elise. It's fine. Like, just do it. Like, just fucking do it. That's how I've done my whole life. Just suck it up, put your chin up and fucking go, right? Like, that's it. Just do it. But I'm human, right? Everyone's human. So at points you get frustrated, and sometimes you need a little pep talk, right? You need a pep talk. You need you need a pick me up, someone to make you feel like, like you're doing what you need to do. You're doing everything you can do, because sometimes it almost feels like it's not enough, right? When you start to see other people be victimized or bad shit happen to people, especially when it comes to the Sewer Crew and the Sewer Turtle, when they just start shitting on people. Like, the reason they bother to even say my name is because I don't shut up and go away. Right? Oh, Jessica goofing on the wish list. Joke's on her. She's just jealous. Like, she's jealous I didn't give my entire fucking, alphabet phone number and address out for the world to send me unboxings. I mean, to be fair, like, what is there to make fun of on a wish list? Her buddy here made one, people bought this man all his furniture. So he was bitching about not knowing how to put it together. You guys, I can't make this shit up. When I said that he will never be grateful for anything, I was not joking. Okay, I was not fucking joking. When Amy got the bed from my wish list, the bed was like $215 plus tax, right? I had to have a good cry because I felt so grateful, right? Like that was one of two big items I needed, bed and the couch, right? Still on the couch, but I have the bed and I was extremely fucking grateful for that. I would never bitch about how long it took me to put together, how long it took me to take the fucking recycling downstairs. This motherfucker's bitching about recycling. He had to buy tools because he's never put anything together. He said I get nothing and he got everything. He can have everything that he ever put on a wish list. I have something better that he will never have. I have an amazing community of kind-hearted, amazing people. And I have this thing, Aidan, called integrity, sir. So even if my entire wish list doesn't get wiped out like yours does, I don't have to fool people to get them to do it. It's called integrity, sir. Integrity. I have something you will never have, Aidan. Kindness, empathy. I have the want to help others even when I can't even help myself, right? Oh yeah, he apparently just expected. He said he usually hires people to do that. So he didn't even have tools. Like I have an entire toolkit, like aside from my husband's, like my own. I used to work on cars with my dad and my grandfather. So like I have my own tools. I don't need, he was bitching and whining that he couldn't put together all the furniture, all the things that people bought him. Okay. Then he was complaining that there was too many packages coming. Imagine complaining about too many packages coming from people who were kind enough to like help you out, right? Like if I had a 160,000 subscriber channel, then I probably would have gotten everything off my wish list as well, you know? My tool set's pink too. I got a little pink hammer, I got a pink level. Girl, listen, I bought that thing like 6 or so years ago. I mean, when anybody ever sent me the screenshots of, there was one time, oh God, months and months ago, that I got like a $500, I can't remember if it was Cash App, but whatever it was. And I read it and read the comment on air, right? And that's one of very few times that I've gotten something that large, which again, that's like, you cannot be more grateful in that moment, because even just that little bit, if that's a little bit to someone, that's a lot of bit to me. That helped, that whole, like, I could breathe that whole week, right? So like, imagine being someone like him who's bitching about having to bring all the boxes out, the recycling of all the things that other people bought you. And then imagine saying something like, I could afford it all myself, but you guys bought it for me. I mean, imagine being that completely detached from fucking reality. And this is why I said anybody who does shit for him is fucking stupid. Okay? Stupid, right? He might need a tutorial on how a can opener works. That might be a real thing. Joke's on him. You know who bought my fucking can opener? Jen Altman bought my can opener, so joke's on fucking him. And guess what? Guess what? It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. If that doesn't piss him off, I don't know what will at that point. I'm just saying, this whole ass idiot is over here complaining about having to take out the fucking boxes, the recycling, and then having to complain that he has to put these things together. You know, he's got to put together the furniture that people bought him. He's not grateful. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. He just hopes and prays that everybody will do everything for him, including put it together. You know, put it together. As long as they put it together for him, fuck it. He doesn't care. Please, that's all the man knows how to do is bitch. Bitch and whine and bitch and whine. He doesn't know how to be grateful. He doesn't know how to care about another human being. He does not have that capacity. Hello, Marcia. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on with the nonsense. Like, Ratterall. I can't. I literally can't. The audacity of someone like him is amazing to me. You know? We'll be busy for hours. We'll send him a pink one, along with his emergency underwear. I have his emergency underwear here somewhere. Where are they? Here they are. It's a real pair of emergency underwear. It says, emergency underpants, one pair. Fits most adults, always ready to use. Archie McPhee. I'm so serious. I am so fucking serious. These are some emergency undies. You know, they're all packaged in there. So the next time he sees Jay Brill, he can shit himself. You know, with his emergency undies on. Totally fine. Totally fucking fine. you should doubt every word out of his mouth, because 90% of it is just bold-faced lies, spin, or narration that he made up. If the gaslighting is fucking bonkers. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Okay? Hello, darlings. Hello, darlings. That's a good question. So there's lots going on in the sewer turtle world, as we know, with the sewer turtle and their crew. You know, these people can't help but to bitch about pretty much everything. They can't be grateful for a single fucking thing. Grave, I love you. I'm sorry, but Grave is the best comments. I swear to God. Every time I look down, Grave, and you have the best ones. You're so quick-witted, it's not even funny. Like, Kendra must get a kick out of you sometimes. Or all the time, actually. And tell her I said hello. Grave, Grave sends $100 and says, for call Roto-Rooter, clean that dirty sewer. You can't, I don't think that sewer can be cleaned, you know? You know, the sewer crew gets down and dirty in there. Like, I don't think you can clean that dirty ass fucking sewer. Like, not with that sewer crew. That's for damn fucking sure. You know, these people don't know how to. I mean, the audacity. But I need you guys to listen to this. All right, I need you to listen to this clip. No, so that's the thing, right? He had a restraining order hearing today, unless they moved it. Unless they moved it. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, the dude, first of all, he acts street tough, but in reality, like, he's not. Is she? Oh my God, tell her to take so many pictures. I heard Nepal was beautiful. Tell her I want pictures, please. Let her live through me and just take some pictures that I can see. I want to see them. Oh, that would make my heart happy. I'm such a simple person. I really am. I'm such a simple person. I'm like, well, if I can't go to these places, live through me, have so much fun, but take pictures so I can see the fun. Court was moved. Shocker. Shocker again. I'm going to bet that his attorneys did this whole, well, we need more time to prepare, Your Honor. What? I mean, they could use all the time in the world to prepare, but Dick Nose doesn't have a chance in hell in winning that. You know? Not a chance in hell. But so this is the thing, right? This clip alone tells you everything you need to know. What do you think Aidan does in this clip, folks? Well. What does he do in this clip? He makes everything about himself, per usual. He talks about how Karen Reed should have, you know, publicly, or her team should have publicly made a comment about Kelsey's case. It never came across his fucking mind, that maybe some of those people don't, maybe Karen Reed or her team don't believe in Kelsey's case, right? Like, everybody has an opinion. Also, she doesn't owe you anything, Aidan. And so what he then asserts is his narration of the fact that basically he hopes that Kelsey does what he wanted Karen to do, and like ride with him into the sunset and just be an advocate. And she could make what I think is so funny to this is he says, like, she could make a career out of this, right? But at the same points, guys, loves to shit on me. I've been a volunteer advocate for almost 20 fucking years. Okay. I know, and I could have done all the red tape, gone through the government, tried to have it so that like it was covered under insurance or something like that. And ultimately they may have said yay, they may have said nay, but the people who, and then there still would have been a copay. So it's like the people who need my help can't fucking afford to pay for an advocate. That's the fucking point. They can't, it's the usually lower income people that can't afford to hire an advocate, right? The people who need my help can't afford to pay me for my help. Therefore, I'm going to just help them, right? Like, why shouldn't I? It's the right fucking humane thing to do. And there's only one of me, so I can only spread myself so much, right? So this fucking fool is like, oh, she can make a whole career out of it. Isn't that what I do already? Oh, it's because I'm not on Team Turtle that it's a problem, right? So if Kelsey was me and wasn't Kelsey, it would be not a job, right? But if she's Kelsey, then it's a job. I mean, you can't make this shit up if you fucking tried. You literally couldn't make it up if you fucking tried. It's just not. It's just not. Of course. He's just a disgusting. He only cares about himself. You know, keep it moving. We know this. He only really cares about himself, and that's unfortunate. Hello, Lisa. Welcome. Welcome to our amazing community. Welcome a new community member. Everybody, welcome our new community member. I hope you feel comfy here. Most people are very comfy here because we have a lot of different people believe a lot of different things, and that's okay because we don't need to like hate each other or call each other names just because we believe something different. We can all have many conversations and many different comments, and guess what? We can all coexist. Isn't that amazing that we can do that? Same date as the other. Oh, so they might have wanted to like put them together. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, the court could have also, that would have made sense to them to put it together, you know? But he waived his right for that 10 days then, you know? Well, that's the other thing is he's acting like he did something in this case. Like he helped Kelsey or he got the case out there or he did this and he did that. He did nothing. He did nothing. He's very salty, Ruthie, very, very salty. Very. He is obsessed because he wants her to bow down. And then he says, which I find funny, that basically if Karen had said something, she could basically like atone for her sins. Like anything bad she could have done would have been wiped away. Like, says who? Says you? Like, again, I'm not a Karen Reed huge fan, okay? But ew, gross, White Rose Heart. Don't say that. Don't say that. Gross. 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 I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but still gross. Gross. Turtle weenie. You guys. Oh my God, I needed these laughs. You guys have no idea the week that I have had. And sometimes I just need you guys to like pick me up. I'm not kidding. Like I literally need you guys to pick me up sometimes. And today is that day. So please. I just came home from the doctor too. Like I didn't get great news. It wasn't super bad, but it wasn't super great either. I'm not looking forward to the shenanigans that I have to deal with when it comes to the medical. So you guys always, you know, bring back the bit of me that makes me smile and laugh. And I appreciate you guys more than you know? All right, let's watch this clip because it's ridiculous.
She's out there and her approval rating is sky high and it's going to stay that way, I think. And if she keeps using her platform to vocally advocate, but you disagree, yeah. I think Kelsey's more likable. That's what I just said. Did I not say that? It's just like, if she understands that she has a platform, okay? And that she needs to use this to advocate for other people. We'll see if she follows through on that, okay? I hope she does, because this can be her career. She can find some sort of way to make this into a career. This is what I always imagined that Kearney will be doing afterwards, you know? And I'm not going to criticize Kearney. I'm not going to do it, but it would have been really nice. It would have been really nice.
But then he does.
For Karen or someone from her team to say something in support of Kelsey Fitzsimmons, something. That would have been a really nice thing. That's all I'm saying. That would have been a really nice thing to do. It would have been very powerful, and people, it would be a great way to kind of like redeem whatever, you know, bad, whatever, you know, has been happening. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real there. And, because Kelsey's innocent, you know, and I can't. If you don't like that, you can go fuck yourself, but it's true. It's 1000% true. But we're not going to go there too much, but you know, you saw the way Kelsey did it. That's the way to do it right there. But, next.
Ready?
See, like this, like losers like this. Okay, so this person is banned. We're going to ban Kelly right now. Leave Karen alone. Fuck yourself.
Kelly Weiland, you got banned, apparently banned for life. I know I stopped it, but I'll let you guys watch the rest of it. You got banned and banned for life, Kelly. Kelly Weiland, I'll tell you this much. I will not tell you to die in a hole, darling. I will not tell you to die in a hole. We might have a different idea on Karen's days, but we can still coexist. And I believe that people can coexist together, even if they believe something different in cases, because, oh my God, imagine this. We're human, right? And we don't have to be nasty to each other just because you have a different opinion. You know, I agree, Panda. You know, my community, I am extremely proud of. There's a reason why I am proud of my community, and it's because all of you guys make my community as amazing as it is, right? We are small but mighty. And if I wasn't relevant, these people wouldn't even have my name coming out of their fucking mouths. So let's be honest, all right? Right? Pimpin' ain't easy. And I don't need his validation, that's for damn sure. I'm not Ethel Machado that needs a pat on the back from the sewer turtle, you know? And I do, it's his ego. Ruthie's right, it's his ego, you know? Yeah, I mean, that's what they say, but I don't know if there's a way to count that, you know, of course. But yeah, exactly. He started talking about the case long after the case had already been talked about by everyone else under the planet except him. Remember, he said he couldn't cover it. It was conflict, which I called out right away as bold-faced fucking lie. He didn't think there would be any media around it. He didn't think there was any money to be made off of it, right? Oh, thank you. I need those sometimes. You're welcome. You know, sometimes I feel like I am a 90s vibe, but again, I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 86, so I grew up in the 90s. I miss the 90s, all right? I miss it. I mean, that, Lisa, I can, that's probably a definite for sure. Like that's, again, he's a fucking weirdo, you know? If I was Kelsey, I would run far away. Yeah, he started blocking people. Start running far away from him. As far as you can fucking humanly get, you know? It isn't. That's the thing. Not every case is a corruption case. Not every case is a cover-up case. Not every case is, you know, one of those, you know? Oh God, can you imagine? Just imagine him talking up his house like it's the next McMansion. LTG, because he does. He tries to control everyone and everything around him, you know? Yeah, exactly. He tried to like kidnap it and then be like, look at all I did, guys. Like, you didn't do shit. You did nothing. You did absolutely fucking nothing. And I appreciate that about JFK, that they let people get up there and talk about some pretty deep stuff. You know, I've thought about hopping up once or twice, but it's always been in the middle of the night when I am, you know, nicely passed out, so I don't get to see them until the next day a lot of the time. But I appreciate the conversations that happen on the JFK show because they're needed, right? We have them here, but they're fucking needed. They're important conversations, you know? I watched those panels and they were great, and they echoed the sentiments that I tell you guys here a lot of the time, you know? But again, conflict of interest, remember, guys? That's what he does. But listen to what he tells this poor woman, right? This poor woman. And again, if she's there, right? So she didn't do anything horrible. She said, leave Karen alone for fuck's sake. And of course, he reads that as fuck you. It's FFS, which means for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, FFS, right? This is her comment. Leave Karen alone, FFS, for fuck's sake. Now she's in his chat, right? And this is the rest of what, I'll back it up just a smidgen. This is what he spends his time bitching and whining about, telling Kelly to go die in a hole and shoveling essential pretend dirt over her. Kelly, we won't tell you to die in a hole here, darling, okay?
Alone, fuck yourself. How about die in a hole? How about that, Kelly? How about you're banned for life, okay? Goodbye.
Banned for
banned.
Life.
Done. Get in the hole. Leave Karen alone. Okay, how about some more dirt instead, huh? Okay, well, it should be alone. Here you go. Here's some dirt. We'll leave her alone. Sure. Here you go. Here's some dirt. I am leaving Karen alone. What are you talking about? I'm just saying it would have been nice. Is that a bad thing to say? It would have been nice. Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that it would have been nice. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Goodbye. I don't deal with people like that in my chat. You're banned for life. You're too stupid to be here. I hate you. Go away forever. Get in the hole. Next.
Like what? No, not that I was asked, Jesse, but that I've thought about getting up on panels when they have the open panels, because a lot of the ladies say all of the same things that like I comment on here. So I have my boots on, and my boots are literally like, you can hear it, are rubbing up against my chair. Although I will show you guys my boots. I got these boots last year, and for very cheap, but they're very, very comfortable. And because my feet are arthritic and I have a lot of pain, I really can't wear like regular sneakers. So like I'm very particular about being able to choose what I'm wearing on my feet for them to be comfortable. But I know I can still stretch, but they are very comfy boots. You know, these are like kick in your door boots, I guess. But they're comfy and they hold my ankles and they give my feet plenty of room, but they are noisy. They're like rubbing up against my chair, you know, the noise that they make. He's a tough guy, right? Oh, you banned someone. Get perpetual shovel, right? Like what the fake dirt and all, everyone. Like fake dirt and all. He can't fall over holding a real shovel. What do you mean? He wouldn't know how to put it together. All right, Sassy? Get your shit together, guys. You wouldn't know how to put it together. You got to call someone in to do that. Okay? He has to call someone in to do it for him. All right? That's the thing. He has to call someone in to to do it for him. You know what probably really pissed Aidan off was when Leah gave her Jimmy impression, and then Jimmy commented on our channel that he liked the impression, and he subscribed to our channel. So that must really piss off Aidan, you know, that his buddies or friends. And again, I have no idea why he did, but whatever, I guess. Whatever. Hate watches are still watches, I guess. You know, I guess. But this interview with Kelsey, I'm going to show a little bit of it because I am like, who the fuck, right? Epic, definitely epic. I mean, how pissed off would you be, right? Definitely shout out to my good friend Leah. I love her. I love her to pieces. Usually she's here. She's always working very hard though, and so she's probably working right now with a client. But she's one of my closest friends, and I love her face. All right, that's my home doggy slice, and there is nothing that I wouldn't do for my friend. You know. Well, that's the thing. He doesn't know anything about being nice. When has Aidan ever been nice a day in his life? And I don't mean pretend nice, guys. I don't mean pretending to be nice to someone or pretending to write a nice comment. He's not nice. He doesn't do nice things for anyone ever. I agree with you, Ruthie. I don't think he can say what's fucking nice and what's not nice. So let me pull up some of this shit show. All right. Please hold while the next subscriber you are trying to reach is located. While I'm doing that, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. There's a lot of you. There's over 120 of you over there on X. My X wasn't connecting yesterday, so we weren't over there yesterday. But I would appreciate it if y'all popped over here on YouTube. It's a help for sure. And we like you guys in the live chat. I know some people like to watch from X, but I like you guys in the live chat. You know, it makes for good conversation for a lot of people to be conversating about it all at once, right? So, and I can appreciate you guys' comments. You know, I'm going to pull up some of this though, because, oh boy. Again, I don't think Tim did what was in the best interest of his client, you know, at all. That's a good point. I mean, maybe he offered Tim more money, you know? He does hate. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I mean, definitely intimidated. I mean, we've been in the same place a few times. Like, he knows I'm not one to deal with someone's bullshit. That's for damn sure. And to be honest, there's plenty of, you know, men over the years have been like, you're kind of intimidating. And I'm like, I don't mean to be. You know what I mean? I don't mean to be, but I'm just a very big presence in person. Like, I'm loud. I think that's the Spanish side of me. I'm loud, I'm very talkative, right? And I'm friendly. And I like people, you know? So that's what I love about when people like Aidan or Jess have anything to say about me or my looks. I'm like, look at me and look at you. Let's stop that madness right now. Let's stop that fucking delusion right now. Even on my worst day, I am looking like a supermodel over any of you fucking idiots. And I'm certainly not a supermodel. So let's be honest here, you know? Like, let's be honest. Sneaky, very sneaky, you know? Well, some of them are haters. Some of them, Ruthie, are haters. Some of them are just people just prefer to. I also think people think that you can see every single person that comes in when you're on YouTube. And so they don't go onto the YouTube side because they assume you see them, right? So I think that's also part of it, you know? Well, whether they want to give me a view here or not is regardless, because it counts it as a view. So it doesn't really fucking matter one way or another. I just prefer to have more people in chat, right? Sort of having these conversations. But either way, it counts it as a view. So I don't know if it counts like ultimately, but if you go and look at the views of my shows after they're over versus how many were in just on YouTube, it has to be counting them. And I think it's because I'm using a streaming service. So it knows that I'm streaming on 3 platforms at once right now. I'm on 3 platforms right now: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all at once. So you guys might see a number of like, okay, it looks like 123 on YouTube. And then there's a couple people on Facebook and a bunch of people on X. So it gives me like the top number, and then it tells me each individual number for each individual platform, like how many people are in each platform, if that makes sense. I don't get what Bradel's trying to do. Like, what the fuck is he trying to do? Like, what? I don't get what he's trying to do at all. Like, you're not helping your client. This is like, that's your client. You should want your client. And he did at one point apparently tell Aidan to stay away from Kelsey. So if he told Aidan to stay away from Kelsey, why the fuck would you think it was a good idea to ever put her on in an interview with him? To give him that was fucking dumb. It was dumb, you know? I do think that maybe he's trying to make him seem like a real journalist, but I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Everyone knows who he is by now, except for the blinded people, and eventually they figure it out. They do figure it out eventually. They do. They really do. But, scan. Oh God, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. He blah, blah, blahs a little before he brings them on. All right, hold on. Here we go. Found it. On the spot I want. Ugh, I'm getting rid of this fucking thing. Boop. I don't want to look at that. Or on the nasty things that people say in his chat, they get beyond disgusting in my book. You know? It's in a, no, it's not a space. It's video. They can actually see me over there. You can do a space on top of that. No court, I guess, Marcia, it was moved to the 14th with his other one. You know, so, oh, thank you. Oh, that was so nice. Thank you. Thank you. Keep it moving. I appreciate you. Right? Well, he also hates women. Let's remember that. I am assertive. I've always been that way. I was with my abuser when I was very young. So I was 17, 18, and 19. And I was young, impressionable, easily misled by people just like Aidan, by a man just like Aidan, except my abuser was also physically abusive. And so along with the coercive control came the physical, emotional, and mental abuse. And I learned very early on how to spot people like Aidan and how to deal with people like him, you know? And the worst thing that you can do is give these people like no pushback and allow them to just keep operating. Because if you do that, they feel that control, right? I will never give another abuser, no matter who they are, any sort of control over me ever again. And the one thing Aidan can't stand about me is he has no control over what I say or what I do in any capacity at all. There's no blackmail he can use. There's no crimes. I don't commit them. I'm not a fucking idiot, right? There is nothing he can do to shut me up and make me go away. His question sucks. See, I didn't watch it. So this is the first time I'm watching it with you guys. I was clips I saw and the things from other people that I had watch it were like, you nailed it. It was not good. And it's not going to help her. As I said, in her family court cases, it's not. It's tying her to him. And all the harassment that Justin's family is seeing is coming from him and his minions. So that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good, you know? Well, that's the thing, right? He didn't do hard time. He did fucking 60 days. I've done more than 60 days back when I was an addict, standing on my head for a probation violation. First of all, he cried like a baby back bitch for like the first week he was there. I have friends who are COs in that jail he was in Dedham. And he kept banging on the cell door. And they had to tell him at one point that it wasn't a fucking hotel. Like, you're in jail, buddy. It's not a fucking hotel. We don't get you things when you bang on the cell door. Shut the actual fuck up. He wouldn't even leave the cell without a CO walking him to the yard when he was in medical, which means one cell gets popped at a time, right? So he would be the only cell that's popped open for him to go do his fucking hour of yard or half hour of yard time. And he wouldn't even walk to the yard without the CO walking him, even though there's no one else on the unit out except him. That's how much of a bitch he is. That is how much of a fucking baby back bitch, you know? Oh, thank you, Ruthie. We love you here. So yeah, no, they've changed it. He's financing a trip to Vail. Of course he is. Of course he is. Yeah, Facebook, I mean, a lot of people don't use it, but a lot of other people do use it. And so if you really, as a content creator, you should really be using all the platforms. I should really be using Instagram and stuff too, even though I don't. But that's definitely something that's going to change. I'm going to have to, obviously. But that's my fear, Sassy. Yeah, there are multiple platforms. I'm going to have to like sort of expand into all those platforms too, which is going to be a pain in the ass. But well, his trial, I think, is going to get pushed up because now they're not waiting. What they were waiting for is for Judge Krupp to decide on Karen Reed's phones. So I don't even know what nickname he has. I think does he still call me like Food Stamp 5? Like, I don't even get food stamps. That's what I find so funny about that. It's like he makes shit up. At one point he called me a dropout. Like, bro. Not only did I not drop out my student loans for college, say otherwise, but I graduated with a special needs baby in high school. So like he just says shit to say shit, guys. Like literally just says it. Anybody brings him like gossip, he just says it like it's a fact, even though it's not. The shit that he says, he just fucking makes up, or someone comes to him and goes, "Oh, I heard this," and he just says that that's a fact. Like that's. The shit that he says is fucking bonkers. I don't even know what he calls me because this is how much I don't watch him. Right? Like I literally don't watch him. But I think it's important to show why I said this would be a bad fucking idea. You know what I mean? Well, that's the thing. I don't think no, because it's not going to make him look good in court. It's actually going to make him look worse, in my opinion, you know? But he's definitely terrified. And I think that the judge, Sarah, is going to push it up because now Judge Krupp ruled on the phones. They're not going to get them. It's not going to take months for a team to go through them. And the judge did say if that was going to happen, that he was going to want the case to go forward sooner. He was going to want to move it up. And so I have no doubt that the next date, the judge is going to say he wants to. No, I would never work for him. I met him because I was covering the same case. Simply, like, we're just in the same places at the same time covering the same case. That's it. But he is who he is. We were just saying that, Matt. We were just saying, I don't think he can dig a hole. I think that he would have to have somebody put the shovel together for him, and he might fall over holding the shovel. I mean, he's got to get bigger platforms on his shoes for that, I feel like, he doesn't even have a fucking shovel. Well, yeah, I mean, and he'll do that to anyone. Let's make that clear, I mean, he could. It's a very real possibility if they choose to go after him for it, but whether they choose to is a whole nother question. Will they choose to? That's up to them, But there's a lot that goes into it, and then you got to think about if you want to keep dealing with those kinds of court dates for a lot. So some people choose to I've seen so many of his victims just choose not to go after any charges because they don't want to perpetually just be sitting in court over and over and spending the money on attorneys and doing all these things. So they're just like, it's not worth it money-wise or time-wise to do it. Even though he did something criminal or illegal, it's not worth the time and money and energy it's going to fucking take to do it, right? People have to think about that. They think about the people who, shit on Meredith for like doing what she's doing right now are like, well, why didn't she get this RO sooner? Why'd she wait until now? Why'd she do this? Why'd she do that? Listen, if you're asking those questions, then you really don't know who we're dealing with. So many of Aidan's victims have chosen not to get an HBO or an RO because what he'll do is he'll take the audio or video of the hearing, he will play it, he'll try to make fun of you, insult you, he'll send his minions after you after he plays it, and it just gets worse. So is it worth it to deal with more shit because you went and got one? Most people won't and don't. Right? And also you have to establish a pattern. So you can't just go get an RO or an HBO after the first thing. You have to establish a pattern of behavior of them doing this stuff, He did, but I'm guessing they moved it, I guess. He had one today, so they must have moved it. Yes, he's got a temporary RO. Meredith has a temporary restraining order on him. But he did, not a clerk's hearing. He had no, he did have a clerk's hearing. He had 2 hearings that were supposed to be today. The first one was moved until May 14th, and I guess the second one was also moved to match that date. So now they're both supposed to be, I guess, on May 14th, but that would have had to involving him sort of waive that 10-day, I can't remember, it's 10 or 14 days now for an RO. So now it's the same as the other date, which I said yesterday, wouldn't be surprised if he tried to get it moved. Here we are. Yeah, just buying more time. Per usual, though, that's like standard for his lawyers. Buy more time, buy more time, buy more time, buy more time. It's not really buying him much more time. You can buy him 5 more minutes out of jail, but if they decide to arrest him tomorrow for 5 other charges, that puts him in jail anyway, So I was wondering that too, but then I forgot it's almost April. So then I'm like, oh, it's actually like just a month. About a little over a month. But I did wonder why all the way that far out. Like, why not 2 weeks from now? Why not just 14 days from now? Why a whole month? Why a whole month and a half? But again, that could have been like the prosecutor is on vacation or one of the defense attorneys is on vacation and they couldn't do it this week and that week. So they got to move. And then the court couldn't do it the next week. And so like ends up how it ends up being like pushed out from the courts. Well, that's all he keeps doing. Peggy is, sort of kicking that can down the road. All right. Well, that's what the temporary order is for, Bearden. The temporary order stays in place until you get the permanent one. So he still at this moment has a restraining order, right now against him. And that temporary restraining order stays in place until they go for the hearing for the permanent. So it's really not doing much. Yeah, the daughter's vanity together. My older daughter got my younger daughter a vanity for Christmas this year, and I cannot tell you how much my little one loves that. She absolutely loves her little vanity so much, and I'm sure his daughter will love that vanity. See, that's the thing. That's the difference between me and him. Is I think he's a piece of shit, right? But I think his children didn't ask for any of this, right? So I do hope that his little one enjoys that vanity as a little girl. I bet she'll absolutely love it. I know my little loves it, and they're not too far off in age, But again, you need someone to put it together for him, though. So yeah, usually this might be an attorney needs more time, but there also might be other things working in the background. Everybody needs to remember that, okay? That there are other things working in the background that are different pieces of the puzzle that need to be put together. And one piece of the puzzle might have a piece that they're just waiting to put in there, and that might pertain to this. So that puzzle might attach to this puzzle, if you know what I'm saying, So yeah, school vacation though usually isn't until the last week almost last week in April. So most of the kids get out on the 17th, which is a Friday, would be the last day of school, and then they'd be on vacation like that next week. So, I mean, it wouldn't be May though, that's for sure. So, I mean, that probably wouldn't have been a great time either to do this during a school vacation, because then people's kids are home, But yes, it does protect the victim. So the temporary order protects her right now until the permanent one goes into effect when they go for court. So right now she is protected by that order right this minute. So yes, no, she has a restraining order against him. Yeah, of course, he tried to file, he has a clerk's hearing going against her for witness intimidation. The problem with that is she's the witness and he intimidated. So that's not going to help him any, I don't get it. Well, that's the thing. She did her trial. Like, time to do yours, bud. Ew, that's disgusting. That's gross. We don't. He is so gross. I can't. I cannot. Which is so funny because he's never met my children. He doesn't know a single thing about my children. Not a goddamn single thing about any of my kids. Right. And I have all daughters. I have all girls. My kids are some of the most amazing, smart, kind kids. My kids say please and thank you, sir and ma'am, right? They know their manners. They know what they can and can't do. They know how to behave like civilized human beings. So I'm actually shocked he would have anything to say about my kids. He's never met my children, and anybody who has knows that my children are well behaved, have everything they could ever want and need, are well loved, well cared for. Like, it's just sad, right? His kids didn't ask for any of this. They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for it. And I hope his daughter does enjoy that vanity. My daughter highly enjoys her vanity that her big sister got for her, right? And it means a lot to her because my older daughter got it for her, and because my older daughter is the one with the terminal illness. Like, my daughter knows that one day her sister may not be here anymore. And so having that vanity that my oldest daughter got her means the world that her sissy got that for her. And so when she sits in front of that, she's very proud that her sissy, got that for her for Christmas. So my kids are quick-witted. They can definitely be sarcastic once in a while at home. Not to, they would never do that to like another adult, but they can be random, sarcastic, full of energy, but they're very smart. They just actually did testing with my youngest. They do it for all the kids in that grade, and she tested highest above 98% above kids in her grade in the state. So they have like, below average where they're supposed to be, and she was like way over where they're supposed to be, which doesn't shock me. All my kids were, and so was I when they did the testing for me in seventh. Mine was in seventh grade. My oldest was in sixth grade. She had college level reading in sixth grade. I had college level reading in seventh grade. And my middle as well, when they did it for her in eighth grade, she was already college level reading and writing. So, I mean, it's seeming to like go down. My husband is so funny. He'll be like, listen, my kid's smart and she doesn't get it from me. Like, he's not book smart, right? Like, he's put things together smart, construction smart. Like, I can see this in my head and make it, right? But he's not book smart. He doesn't read, right? Not like me. I like to do both, right? Like, I like to be book smart, but I also like to be other kinds of smart. common sense smart, street smart. I grew up halfway between middle and low class. My grandparents were very upper middle. They owned 2 homes. They died way too young. But my mom grew up poor. So I sort of lived both lives. And so I had to learn how to be street smart as a kid, as well as just being intelligent in general. You know, like I had to learn, it's like survival of the fittest at that point. When you're growing up in a city, big city, the way I did, and then also halfway between that city with my mom and a town with my grandparents, you know? So, all right. I always hit a nerve though. So that's, you know, I'm sure, you know, that's the thing is you hit a nerve and then he's got something to say about you, which is like, good. Looks like I'm doing something right. Right. Motherfucker. I mean, it's so funny to me. He had to shout out Melanie Little. He had nothing to say about Melanie Little's wish list, though, you guys. He had nothing to say about Melanie Little's wish list. He had a lot to say about our wish list, but he had nothing to say about his good friend Melanie Little's, you know? And then he wanted to make one, of course, for himself. But Wi-Fi sketch today? Yeah, my Wi-Fi was sketch yesterday. I don't know what the fuck was going on with it, but it was being weird. All right. Let me play a little bit of this. I'm going to have to stop it at some point because I can only take him in small doses with the amount of gaslighting and lies he does. It makes me want to fucking roll my eyes and just throw something. And I'm not a violent person, but like this man can bring out the rage in anyone with the amount of lies and gaslighting he does. It's fucking bonkers. In the meantime, while we're watching it, remember we are an independent channel. And yes, I was supposed to do this in between the first 20 minutes and now we're 48 minutes in. So I apologize. But remember, we are an independent channel. We only get by with the kindness of all of you. And the only way I keep bringing the content is if I can keep the channel running. And if I can keep the channel running, then the content keeps coming. And the only way that I do that is from the kindness of all of you. And so if you can, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Get yourself a membership if you already haven't gotten yourself a membership, right? We have our wish lists as well. We have 2 of them. One of them has like just a few items, 6 or 7 items on it, and the other one has more, right? And then we have our most direct routes, which are always the best for a small channel like mine, no matter who you're watching. So if you guys also watch other smaller creators and you donate, use the better options for that creator, which are right to them, because it helps them in the shorter term keep the channel afloat and keep everything running. And for us, our options are Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and then we also have our link that works for debit or credit. All of these options are in our description here on YouTube, and the link is also posted in the live chat right now that works for credit and debit. And we also have Chime and Revolut for those of you who are in country or out of country. But if you don't have Revolut, I think you guys should get it. It works for like 100 and something countries. You can send in receipts. So if you have family members that are in Canada, Japan, China, UK, like it works back and forth, and you can instantly, boop, if they send you money from, you know, pounds from the UK, you can instantly move it to US dollars and get the exchange right there in the app. They give you a card just like Cash App or Venmo does. You can use the card anywhere. It's a great option if you have family or friends that are outside of the country, and it works between so many countries. It's ridiculous. A lot of people didn't even know it existed. I didn't. I did your research into it, but I'm glad that I got it. All right, ready? I'm just loose before I hit the play button on this motherfucker. Hello, Mia. All right. I know, right? She's like a mini me, like a total mini me. Right? You did see it. He is so strong. I say this all the time. I swear to God, like everybody who knows him knows that, but anybody who doesn't know him is like shocked at how strong he is because he's not like super big. You know what I mean? My husband's obviously taller than me. He's about 5'10" ish. And, but he's slim. My husband's very like fit, sports fit. And so, but he is one strong dude, right? One strong fucking dude. That's for sure. But he's also kind and respectful and, you know, could get along with pretty much anyone. He is definitely the yin to my yang. That's for sure. The yin to my, who is Sewer Decoded? I love that, Natalie. Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. Oh my God. I love it. Oh my God. That's so funny. Oh, Cannoli, is he your pup? Oh my God, we have another community pup. I love it. I love it so much. Oh, tell him it's the sewer turtle. You know how mad he gets when people actually call him that? He gets so mad because he knows it comes from here. It pisses him the fuck off. I actually thought about it right before I came on here. I was like, oh shit. I should change his Wikipedia page. Alias is also Sewer Turtle. It's an alias. It should go on there. Like, fuck, dude. You know? Shit. You won't. He's not a person who gets mad. That's why. Like, he's so chill. You know? Like, I think my husband's probably ever yelled in the 12 years we've been together, maybe twice. Like, he's done a yeller, you know? He's not a yeller. He's very, like, just chill, just very laid back, you know? He actually asked about you the other day. He was asking how your dad was doing. You know, I thought about that too, Kim. I thought about that too. But I'm a people person. You know, I'm a people person. Like, I like people, right? Like, and a lot of people here have met my husband. Benny's met my husband. A lot of other people who I'm friends with who pop in and out of here have met my husband. We've been together a really long time, and he's been on the show, I think, twice. We are like children still. I'm not kidding. We're literally like kids who are on their first date still. We are so goofy. We're so goofy. It's ridiculous. But at the same time, I love that because our communication is just always, I mean, it's TMI, honestly. Like, we tell each other probably too much, but that's the beauty of a relationship like that is my, you know, peanut butter to my jelly, man. Like, the frosting to the inside of my Twinkie. All right. Like, I gotta love that man. I gotta love that man. And to be fair, you all would too. If you knew him, even on the show, I know people who watched the show with us the night he was on, I think it was New Year's Eve, maybe, or maybe Christmas Eve. I can't remember, but he's just one of those people that, like, could get along or be kind to pretty much anyone. And he's not like, he won't sit in the corner and be quiet. You know, there's some people that would just sit in the corner and be quiet, right? Like, he's not going to get mad if I say, hey, I'm going to go have a couple drinks with my friends, you know? Like, he's not like a weird, jealous type, which I love about him because I am not one to be told what to do. I do not like to be told what to do. I'm not one of those people. I'm very strong-willed. I was talking to my sister about this morning. My sister was like, we're just very strong-willed women in this family, you know? So, oh, he's a part toy poodle. That's so, and a Pomeranian. Oh my God, so cute. Oh, cannoli. Oh my God, I love it. I love when they hear me. I love it. Where's Jethro? Jethro! Jethro! Is he popping his little ears up, Jesse? Yeah, that's what he was doing. He's, you know, trying to give himself a pat on the back, Natalie. We're going to watch some of it now, so you'll be able to hear some of it now. But that's exactly what he does. He blows up everything he touches, especially if you disagree with him, you know? Like to mess on. Yeah, exactly. Jay's very chill. But his whole family was, like, chill, you know? It's very, very chill. I swear to God. He is. He's a partner. He's watching me from the couch. Oh, Jethro, my buddy. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And I knew, if you guys go back to some of my older streams with all that, I said when him and Meredith split. So an if, it's a when, right? And I said this probably a billion times. When they split, it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be good because Aidan will do what he does every fucking time, and boom, boom, it happened. I knew exactly what would happen before it happened. You know, whose car are we taking, right? Whose car are we taking? Whose car are we taking? You're gonna have to come over one day and watch the game or something. You know, like you have to come over and, like, hang in the new place. We have so much more space now. I feel like, you know, it's 1,100 square feet versus I think the last one was like 700 or 800, but it's so much space that I'm like, what do I do with all this space? You know. Well, that's part of the reason why, Natalie, is because I don't just back down and go away and stop talking about it, which is what he gets every other person to do. Is he gets every other person sick of talking about it, sick of saying anything, and then they just back away and they stop. And it's like, even if I'm covering a case, I'm still going to go back to making sure that I call out when he's doing something, when he's gaslighting, when he's fucking victimizing people, because he doesn't just do it publicly. He does a lot of shit behind closed doors that people have no idea about. And so then they wrongly assume that when someone does say something publicly that, oh my God, they just attacked Aidan out of nowhere. No, they didn't. No, they did not. They have been getting fucking harassed and tortured for months privately. You don't get to say, like, oh, well, they started it when you have no idea what's actually going on. Behind closed doors, a lot happens before somebody says something publicly. And 9 out of 10 times he forces that to happen because they have to defend themselves at some point, you know? You have the right to defend yourself. Ugh, I say that all the time, Jesse, and I'm like, there's just not that many left anymore. And I got a good one, you know. I got a good one. I got lucky, you know. Ooh, chocolate chip cookies. All right, you know what? I'm gonna keep the thought of chocolate chip cookies in my head while we play some of this. All right. Woosah, Elise, chocolate chip cookies, bring good juju. All right, I need you all to bring me good juju. I'm actually gonna start a goal for super chats because I like never do it, but I feel like it's also a good way to like get the pump up, and also it pisses Aidan off when I read, you know, anything that comes from Venmo or Cash App. When I get a super chat, like he gets all fucking aggravated, which I would love to do. Love to piss him off. That's fine with me. Let's do that.
This guy, who has like really been, you know, being like the turtle. I guess he's like the other amphibian, a reptile for like, you know, Kelsey. Like he's doing a great job, whoever he is. And the Glare last night raised 25 G's. He did a 12-hour stream and raised 25
How much did
Gs
he make out of that? Because he didn't make nothing.
So that's great. I mean? That's great. So yeah. So without further ado, I don't know what's going on there. I see Kelsey was backstage. She still is, but her camera's not on. So I don't know what's happening there. Oh, wait, did she fix it? It's like blank. So I don't know if we can figure that out, but Tim Bradle's also there. I'll bring Bradle and Kelsey right now. Just I don't know. Kelsey.
There she is.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Hello. Welcome, guests. How are you guys doing?
Guests.
Hi, guys. Hi, Kels.
Hi, Tim.
Yes. So this is a fun powwow here. We have Tim represents both of us. And as I said, Tim, I didn't want to get involved in this first because, you know, people would see as biased. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
I think it became a no-brainer after a while, no?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too hard to take the right position.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy position. And like I said, I always said from the beginning that, like, regardless, it is outrageous what happened with her on September 11th. And like, that is what obviously radicalized, I think, a lot of people. It was just the inhumanity of it all. Like the, you know what I mean? What they did to her on that day. And a lot of people had their hearts broken that day. So that obviously, she was a good villain. She was like an Auntie Beth.
She's so
is Kelsey there? Is Kelsey's audio on? Is she with us?
Got it, Kels?
Oh my God, dude. She was muting.
I'm here. I'm trying to look for the bracelet somebody gave me. So I can show them that I've been wearing it.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, there it is.
A different kind of bracelet.
Yeah, I had it on. It has an evil eye, and it also says good energy, which is so funny because I brought this giant evil eye to court every single day, and
she rubbed us all with it.
Tam knows about this. It's very important to me, and I would.
Thank you, Valley's girl.
I said I was going to make you cry, and we're not going to do that.
No, I'm not crying. Tim, why don't you say what I would do?
Wait, what? She would like rub us all down with her evil eye stones, and I'd say, you missed a spot right here. Yeah, she was very superstitious. She's probably the most superstitious gal I've had.
Really? Okay. So she hired you? She didn't hire you, like, because she was in the hospital. She was like completely indisposed, and someone from your family hired him. Is that right? Why him?
Your dad. You met with your dad. Yeah, we met with your dad. Your dad, Steve, was kind of the catalyst of it, I think, from your guys' end.
Why Tim? Where'd they pick him from?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, where'd he come from?
No idea.
So you never?
Oh, it's from me.
It obviously wasn't your choice because you were like, you know,
me, guys.
undergoing surgery and stuff like that.
So you want to know what's weird is when I was in the hospital, I had no idea I needed an attorney because I just thought that I was like this suicidal person that had gone through so much, and I didn't know I was accused of a crime until my parents told me. And when they told me, it was like a complete shock. And they ended up.
And you didn't know what crime it was?
No, not until you told me.
That is crazy to think. I never thought about it that way. That, like, from your perspective,
I'm not sure
you
why
were suicidal and got shot, and then you wake.
The weird part to me is, what would be a shock, though? Like, I'm confused. Like, okay, so she said, now listen, I want Kelsey to have, you know, a relationship with her son. I want all the good things for her, right, in the long term. But that's just strange to me. If you're in shock that you're charged with a crime, I mean, she did say on the stand that she knew that even pulling a gun would get her shot, but she did do it. She pulled it out, regardless of whether she's going to shoot herself or not, right? So what would be a shock about the fact that you pulled a weapon in front of officers and then you were charged with a crime? You could have been charged with even just brandishing a gun, right? Like brandishing a weapon. I don't understand why that would have been a shock, though. Like that's the weird thing to me. Like, what would have been a shock about being charged with something at that point, right? You're being served with an RO and you pull out a weapon, and then it's a shock to you that you're charged with something. I don't know. Does he say anything about her gift Senga? I mean, I haven't watched this, you guys. I'm watching it with you guys for the first time, so here we go.
And you're lucky to be alive, and you're like, and then you had no idea that while you were in the hospital, this whole different narrative had been concocted.
To be fair, I think he lost his pupils and he left them in his pocket because I don't see them anywhere. Like, where are your pupils, sir? Are they in your pocket? Like, you lost them. Peanut butter and jam sangy much? I don't know what's going on there, but he's lost his pupils. They do not exist right now. They're not existing in his eyeballs.
And you had no idea. So was that confusing?
Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't think about. For me, is I woke up in the ICU after one of my surgeries, and hours later, I had to be told what happened because I was just
bingo, Miss GNX.
You know, right after surgery, you're not in the right state of mind, and I was never in the right state of mind. But when I was told what was concocted after, I was like, "What?" There's no. The first thing I said to my mom, because she was the first person I saw in the hospital, is, "How are you in trouble for trying to take your life?" That's what I said to her.
So you had no idea that they had alleged that you had done what they alleged you done?
No.
Wow.
I had no idea.
She didn't do it.
Obviously not.
Right.
Yeah, but so that's crazy though. When you think about it from that perspective, from her perspective, she had no idea. She like woke up like, wait, what?
I don't know.
What are you saying happened?
I was in surgery.
Yeah, because like even with Karen Reed's perspective, like she went into that like, and she woke up the next day like, did I accidentally clip him? Like, how did this happen? But with you woke up and you were like, what the hell? Nothing like that ever happened. Obviously, like what's going on here? And you needed a lawyer, and you obviously got a good one. And you know, you guys rushed through this trial. I mean, it was 9 months ago, Tim. I was arrested 3 years ago, and we haven't even been close to a trial yet.
Nah, that's your fault, Aidan, and that's because your attorneys keep fucking pushing it back, pushing it back, and pushing it back. Yeah, notice how he had to talk about Karen there. Had to throw in the name Karen Reed. Had to do it. It's the only time he's ever been relevant. Listen, I know, girl. Listen, I know. You know how rare it is for me to put this on here, but I have to do it. This was a bad fucking idea. All right. This is a bad idea, right? Don't wait until they leave or anything. Like, do it there in front of them. Like, I don't get what the point of that was, you know? Well, that's the other thing. He's trying to use, you know, her as like a rehabilitation of like, I am a real journalist, guys. I am. He clearly is fishing for compliments. He's fishing for people to say, oh, you, Aidan, you're how I found Tim Breedle. It was all you, bud. It was you, you know? It's crazy. That's just crazy. I mean, to be fair, everything Aidan does and everything he's surrounded with is disingenuous in my book. You know, like, I mean, she was in jail, I think I can't remember, it was 3 or 8 days. So it was very not likely that she was going to see any more jail time out of this at all. And she had to sell her house, I believe. So, I mean, I'm sure she made something off the sale of her home, right? She got a townhouse, right? So what happened to the rest of the money? Because I know she probably didn't pay him 120 or 150, and now they made another $25,000. Like, for what? She doesn't have any more criminal defense left. So another $25,000 the other night for what? Family defense? Like, that's different, right? I don't really think other people should be paying for that, but okay, whatever. Like, you know, the last place I would be in a custody battle is anywhere near Aidan Kearney, because if my ex and his family are being harassed by Aidan Kearney's minions, it's probably not a good look for me to be involved with him in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. At fucking all. I think she had a lot of yeah, I don't think it was. I think it's not a stab at her, but I just think it was a bad idea for her to go on here at all. You know? Of course he was puffed up after this interview, because in his mind, right, they gave him a pat on the back. And I haven't watched this, but in his mind, it was amazing. And he got his pat on the back, and him. Because you have to remember, with narcissists, their perception of things are not real, right? Doesn't connect with reality. But what people perceive it and what they perceive it are worlds apart, okay? Worlds apart.
But you said with her, there were different priorities, obviously. You wanted to get this over with.
Caden, number one priority, right, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Her son, right.
We're getting
Why
there.
beyond
It's
human?
coming.
You weren't worried about rushing it like that. I mean, that's a lot. That's quick to go to trial. No?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking him because he's the guy, but like
Yeah.
with you too, you
No
know?
brainer. It was a no-brainer, Aidan. I mean, we
Wanna
knew
get
what
it over and
happened,
done with
and
anyway.
this was a trial all along. There was no, pontificating about what we should do. And we were in that ridiculous pickle of
He has
she gets
stolen quite a bit of
reincarcerated.
credit
We
things
didn't trust
from people. Credit. Like
the
that.
Essex trial Superior Court judge to do the right thing, so we had to go to a higher court, and that took a while. And they didn't give us all the discovery until trial. And and Kelsey was loving this one. We got a report of Lieutenant Daly after he finished testifying, 4-page single-space report after he finished testifying. So they weren't ready to go to trial early. They said they were, but they weren't. And so it was a lot of discovery, dribs and drabs. We needed to be ready, but we were going to plow ahead anyway. I knew what we had. I knew what was going to happen here. I knew she was going to be a great witness. I knew she was testifying all along. She wanted to tell her story.
Good
and
point.
we had to just get this going. And we finally got that judge off the case, as it should have been. They snuck around a little bit, I think, with the way they did it. But hey, we'll take it. We'll take the win any way we can get it. We got a really great judge. Judge Karp was so great. A gentleman, a kind man. He really looked at her with, like a human being. And we didn't have that up until then.
No, you didn't. And speaking of with this judge, right? Like, Kelsey, on September 11th, you go into court for what you think is like a routine.
Good question.
We're going to go in there and try to amend this, the conditions of your release to make it so you don't have to do the scram device. You've been out for a week at that point, not even, right?
Bingo,
Like 2 days.
2 days. Okay, so you got 2 days of freedom, right? After being in the hospital and then jail for 16 days, and then you got 2 days of freedom. And then you go in for what you think is like this routine hearing. And worst case scenario, she says no, and you got to keep doing the scram, right? That's what you're going. Best case scenario, you get an alternative. Worst case scenario, you got to keep doing the scram. Did you have any idea incarceration was even on the table, and what was that like? I mean, how shocking was that?
No. So before jail, I spent 53 days in the hospital. And then I had no bail. And then I went to jail, right to jail. And then the grand jury did not indict me because
we know why. Yeah.
They ran through the lines. And the whole case changed after that. And then it was just assault. And that's what I was facing. So then I had, Tim, you can probably say it in better legal terms, but I had
this is why I thought another it was a bad
hearing where my bail was in question. What would that?
Well, we did the bail appeal to the single justice.
No, that was before, though. That was before. So we went.
So we started in district court. Then we do a bail appeal to McCarthy, and then she held you, and then after the indictment came back, you were arraigned under just the
Yes.
one BS
Okay, so
charge.
that's
The
what
arraignment.
I was arraigned twice. One for all the charges, one for just the indictment. Am I right on that, Tim?
Correct. And it was a entry level Superior Court charge that the sentencing guidelines, which are optional but are followed, held that you could get straight probation for this charge. In my whole 30 years, I've never seen a case where
CNN,
someone was
right?
held who was eligible for probation. That was another piece of insanity
I've
on this
seen
case
that a million
that makes
times.
my blood boil too.
What
That
do you mean? I've
nobody
seen
ever
that a
has
million
ever
times.
been thrown in jail for that.
Can I ask you something, Tim?
Yeah.
Do you think that your clients like Kelsey are getting punished because you represent me?
What?
No,
I
don't think so. Maybe this
Stop
one
it.
time.
I do.
Across the board, I don't think so. I mean, I've been around a long time. I mean, people treat me pretty well. That's sort of my.
But what they did to
thing,
her was so wrong. Like, I've never seen
but I don't
anything
think
like
it comes
it.
from me. I think it or you.
It comes from me. I
comes
think
from-
it comes from me. I think
Well,
they just don't
in
like
this
me.
particular case, I think it's there's a North Andover thing that I'm suspicious of, but I'm not really sure. But we think there's
Kelsey said
something
no.
behind the scenes that was driving that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I think on this one anyway.
North Andover is a very small town. And when I was arraigned for the second time, the judge admitted that this is a whole different case because it wasn't such a huge charge. It was dropped down to just assault with a dangerous weapon. And I don't say just as like it's not a small charge, it's a big charge, but
it's crimes,
from huge to something different. And the whole case changed. And that's when I was released on every restriction you could possibly think of. And the Scram device is, for people that don't know, is a portable, it's portable and it's breathalyzer. And it's about
I agree, Ruthie.
this big. And you have to carry it around everywhere you go, including attorney meetings. Right, Tim?
And you couldn't sleep in, you couldn't, you couldn't go to bed early.
Right.
Every single night.
So it went off from 6:30 in the morning. At first we had scheduled ones. So the probation officer would tell me what times they went off and I would set an alarm on my phone for those times. But then when the judge found out that she didn't put random, it seemed like she got really angry and put them as random, as 6:30 in the morning to 11 p.m. So there would be nights where I'd fall asleep and I would give it to my mom or my stepdad and just say like, I need to sleep. You need to wake me up when this goes off. And then it would be this whole ordeal where you have to put a flashlight on your phone in your face because the picture doesn't take a bright enough picture of your eyeballs, and your eyes are what makes it validate that it's you. And I would just like wake up at 10:30 in the evening and put a flashlight on my face, and then it disrupted my sleep. And I think that's something that's unethical of it. But
a little late,
something that's very unusual where it becomes unethical is someone that's injured. And I was injured in the fact that I had a punctured lung. And when I got released from the hospital, I still had like the repercussions of broken ribs and a fractured lung. And anyone that's had broken ribs knows how bad it hurts to try to take a deep breath. And still to this day, I work out every day and I have trouble breathing. So you can only imagine 9 months ago when I was trying to take a deep breath. And when my mom took videos because we thought that it would show that this was real, genuine pain. And I wasn't like trying to go drink a Bud Light behind the judge's back. My mom would take videos of how hard it was. And when I would blow into it, it would fail. And I would just be like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail. Like the police are going to be here right now.
You have genuine PTSD from this. I have no doubt.
Yes.
Now he's a therapist.
a thing.
Tim, stop it. Okay. Please don't pretend to be a therapist or, a psychologist, genuine PTSD, I'm sure. Listen, coming from someone who has fucking PTSD, don't pretend to be a fucking therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist and pretend to know what the fuck PTSD is, how it affects someone. Like, for the love of God, that's the one thing that I can't stand is just someone always claiming PTSD. Like, yeah, it can give you anxiety, right? It can give you panic. But to say, oh, you probably have genuine PTSD from having to use something that's scary. I mean, then you'd have to say that everyone doing something scary has PTSD. That's just not. Again, he's a lawyer, not a psychiatrist, okay? Not a psychiatrist. I literally don't think I could if I tried, Boogie. I mean, the gaslighting and the me is too much. Do you guys think that, like, you got the shit end of the stick on some of this because of me, he says? And Kelsey goes, no. Like, Tim's like, I don't think so. And he's like, well, I think so. Of course you think so, because everything is about you, Aidan, right? Like, everything is the fuck about you. Like, come on, dude. Well, I mean, my family definitely, my grandmother, she's been gone a long time, but my grandmother helped raise me. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I had gotten into a scenario like this and I had that device, I think 11 o'clock is really late. I think that's kind of shitty. I think it should be like, you're not even allowed. I think it's 9 p.m. that the cutoff is for like bill collectors. Like, they can't call you after 9 or before 7 or before 6. I can't remember 6 or 7, but after 9 they can't. I think 9's a good cutoff. Like, what if someone works late or someone works early, or like, I don't know. It just seems that 11 to me would be really freaking late. Like, they wouldn't be calling anybody in for a urine at 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like, 11 is a little late for that. People should be able to go to bed at a reasonable time and not have to wait until 11 p.m. I think that's a little crazy. But aside from that one thing, like, come on. I mean, my grandmother would have been like, well, you're going to have to stay up till 11 then. Oh, fucking well. Like, you get yourself into this scenario, like, by just not thinking before you did something. So you're going to have to do this. Like, you're going to have to fucking do this, I can't. Well, he definitely wanted to be able to do this interview himself. And clearly Tim wasn't going to let that happen. But at the same time, why did Tim let her do it? Because to me, it's cringe. Cringe as fuck. Why? Why? Everything was about him. Everything is always about him. Yeah, the child's always going to be the victim in something like this. I feel obviously bad. Thankfully, the baby hopefully is just too young to remember any of this. And that is the one sort of saving grace for that child, Well, that's the other thing. Your lawyer was unprepared. So it's like, you can blame the judge. You might think the judge is a little angry or whatever, but your lawyer was unfucking prepared, okay? Bradel was unprepared. She went back to jail because Bradel tried, and this is what they forget to say here, is Bradel tried to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions of release in the first 3 days of her being out of jail. If I tried to have 2 of the 3 conditions of my release taken off my first 3 days out of jail, guess what they would have done to me? They would have sent me back, because if those conditions cannot be upheld, they cannot keep me out of jail. There's a reason why you have to sign for those conditions. Those are the things that are keeping you out of jail. If you then turn and say, we can't do these things, well, then you have to go back to jail. It's not rocket science. This happens to people all the time. Most lawyers try not to remove those things. It wasn't that he was just doing the scram. He was trying to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions in the first 3 days. He had filed 2 motions. Okay. So, of course, Tim's not going to take any accountability here, but that is what happened. That is what happened. Well, you guys have to remember, she's prescribed, like, I think it was 3 different medications, 2 of which are kind of hefty for mental health. And so I have no doubt that those probably make you a little slower and tired. I mean, again, I worked in mental health for a long time. Some of these medications, especially if they're changing your doses and trying to see what works, trying to see what don't work, like, can make you a little slower, a little like head floaty. Almost feels like you're not quite all there sometimes, like when you're on those medications, which is why it's important to tell your, doctor if, like, you're feeling like not fully yourself, if it's making you slower or you feel like, you're in sloth movement is what I call it, I think they're probably prescribed medications, and she's on 3 medications that she's prescribed right now. Yeah, family court's a bitch. It runs like a kangaroo court. a lot of the time. And a lot of the things that people are complaining about right now are not going to have anything to do with the family court. Like they're complaining a lot about just in this, just in that. Courts do not like, and I will repeat, judges do not like a tit for tat. Judges do not like when you go in there and just shit all over the opposite parent. They want to see them trying to work together to get to a resolution. They do not want to see one parent shitting all over the other parent about every tiny little thing, especially if you have no evidence of it and you're just saying it. And I think it's going to be a big problem if Justin goes in there and tells the court that he has been harassed to oblivion by turtle riders and that private videos were released to the public and to people like Aidan to post all over public websites so that he would be further harassed and they would further, because there's only one person who could have released them and that is her. And so that's not going to look good. I think it was a terrible idea. Whoever convinced her to do that is an idiot. I think she'd have had a better chance. Oh, you like the thumbnail? I like it too. I like it too. I like it too. You know? I just think it's the way she talks. I think she's always been like a softer spoken like way that she talks in the interviews that I've seen, at least for the very few seconds or minute that she talks. She always seems to speak that way. Exactly. You should have had all of the stuff ready. And the problem is after the judge rules, you can't then just change your argument. And Bradel tried to do that. So we had an argument, right? And then when the judge said, no, I'm not buying that argument, I'm ruling, this is the ruling. Then he was like, oh, well, I do have this and I have that. And the judge is like, well, I already ruled. Like, you don't get to change your argument to the complete opposite of what you were just arguing because you didn't like the answer that the judge gave. That's not the way it works. Judges ruled, that's it. So you can keep talking while she's leaving the bench, but she's already ruled. She's not going to change her ruling because you're now changing your argument. That's not the way it works. He should have been prepared, you know? You can't just go in and be like, oh, yeah, she was shot, so that's it. Bring the fucking paperwork. Show them where the doctor wrote a note saying that it's doing that, right? And then they would have had no choice, you know? Like, he wasn't fucking prepared. Well, I mean, she was already found not guilty on that charge, and then she has other attorneys for family court. So, I mean, she has different attorneys for family court. But I don't think that any of them gave her good advice if they allowed her to release those videos. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a good idea to give any interview until probate's done and over with because all that can be used against you, all of it, you know? It's a lot of ego. And I think Bradel's part of the problem, to be honest. They love the attention, just like Bettero and his purple crayons, okay? They love the fucking social media attention. They love the fucking cameras. They don't give a fuck about what is or what isn't when it comes to their client. It's money and attention, and it's sad to watch in real time, you know? I mean, those two are always ick, in my opinion, Shannon. Those two are always fucking ick, you know? I wish she had just run as far away from Aidan as she possibly could have, you know? Yeah, Sarah pulls a doozy. Yep, it will make you feel like you're in like slow motion. I had to try Seroquel for sleeping, and they ended up changing me to trazodone because it would keep me awake instead of let me go to sleep. It gave me the opposite effect. So, but my cousin was on Seroquel and she had to come off of it because she's like, dude, I can't, like, I'm just constantly like sloth mode, slow motion. Like, I can't take that med. So it's like different meds do different things to different people, you know? And they tell you you have to wait. You have to wait like 4 or 5, 6 weeks. 4 or 5 or 6 weeks before it's fully in your system. So they don't want to take you off it if you feel slow after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It takes like 21 days to like fully get into your system. So they want you to wait. The doctors want you to wait until you're into like week 5, week 6 to then be like, okay, we'll take you off of it. So like, that's also like a push and a pull when it comes to that kind of stuff, you know? Oh God. Good for you, Birkenstock. Good for you. It is the devil. I'm just saying. It's not, you know? You know what? Making changes, it's funny you say that because my abuser is my oldest daughter's father. And he was horrifically abusive. Like the police reports speak for themselves. And I ended up handing those police reports over to his now ex-wife when she was going through the divorce with him because he is who he is, right? But in my daughter's entire life, and even though he wasn't in it for the first 5 or 6 and sparsely in it for the rest of her life, I didn't say a single bad word about him in front of her. I wanted her to make up her own mind. I wanted her to see him for who he was herself and make that decision herself. My birth dad, my biological dad, is an alcoholic. And everybody gave me their opinion of my dad instead of letting me make my opinion of my dad. I didn't meet my biological dad until I was an adult. And make no mistake about it, I love my dad. I don't have as good relationship with him as I had with my dad who adopted me, who passed away, that I lost to suicide because he was with me my whole life, right? And I didn't meet my biological dad until I was an adult. But he's not a bad person, he's just an alcoholic. And so everyone else shoved their opinions down my throat, including my mom, and that just wasn't fair. And I didn't want that for my daughter. I wanted her to be able to make that choice on her own, on who her dad was and who she thought her dad was, because he might not be a good partner, right? But he was still her dad. And I wanted for her to be able to make that choice that wasn't given to me. And so it was important for me, at least, to allow her to make that choice on her own and allow her to see him for who he is on her own. And she did, and she did. And she calls my husband dad because that's who has always been there for her. That, when we did her quinceañera, we're the ones who took her dress shopping and paid for the dress and did the whole, that's dad, most of her entire life. And so she doesn't really see a lot of her biological dad. He never really has tried. And you'd think if you had a kid with, a terminal illness that one day may not be on this earth, you'd want to spend as much time as humanly possible with your child. Narcissists don't know how to give a fuck about anybody else. And it's the same with Aidan. He doesn't know how to give a shit about anyone else in the same way that my abuser didn't, right? They don't have that chip or that capacity. He didn't ban you for that, Birkenstock? I'm shocked. I'm shocked he didn't tell you to die in a hole. Yeah, she has different ones, Oh, listen, Aidan's judge that he has, I couldn't have asked for a better one for Aidan, because that judge is no nonsense. He's fair, but he's no nonsense. He's not going to play Bradle and Bettero's fuck games. Oh, NyQuil. My best friend, God rest her soul, NyQuil used to keep her up at night too. Yeah, she couldn't take NyQuil to go to sleep because it would keep her up. Did the opposite. I don't know, does she have extensions? I mean, she's also at home, I can't kind of fault her for just being, she's at home. I mean, look at me right now, to be fair. I just came from the doctors and I'm not feeling great. So I'm just in my hoodie and my, my leggings and headband, hair up. I feel like asshole. So I can't fault her for that, Yeah, Marie, I agree. He probably never has been. And it shows, She has a YouTube channel. I mean, everybody technically that makes a YouTube has a channel. It's just whether you decide to make videos, So everyone who has a YouTube essentially does have a channel. But whether you use it to monetize and make videos is another thing, Oh God, from 5 years ago? Wow, I didn't know that. Try to tell myself, I just didn't know what they didn't know. Yeah. I mean, my parents didn't either, right? They didn't know what they didn't know way back then. And you have to kind of forgive them for not being as, not helicoptery, but paying as much attention as they probably should have. I had to deal with that sort of in therapy, with the essay as a child, is they didn't know what they didn't know, I guess, and you want to say where were they? You're just a kid. Where were they to protect you? But at the same time, this was in the 80s and 90s, different world back then. Way different world. Oh my God! Imagine. I can only imagine he probably has a few. Oh, she did have them in court. Yeah, I have no idea. I think she's on vacation. She showed. Oh, so she's what, sunburn? Yeah. Went to my son's birth mom. Wasn't able to if and when they met and show up. Well, that's the other thing. You want them to be able to have a relationship, it's important. It's important to have both parents if it's possible, for a kid. Believe me, it is.
I wanted to talk to you about, right? Because I might have some of that myself, right? So you and I have a couple of things in common. Our lawyer for one, and incarceration for another. And we have kind of in common, I think, that we're not the kind of people that expect to go to jail. I feel like
Oh, you don't expect to go to jail. You just expect to commit a bunch of crimes and not go to jail. See, that's the part that gets me. Aidan doesn't expect to go to jail, guys. He expects to just keep blackmailing and threatening people on the phone and never go to jail for that, ever. Like, it's amazing to hear him gaslight and lie so much. Like, we are the kind of people who don't expect to go to jail. I've been just committing crimes for 10 years, and I just expect the blackmail and the screaming and yelling to force people to do what I want them to do, the coercive control, will never get me in trouble because I'll just keep lying about it. And because mostly I do it on the phone, nobody has proof of it, although he is mostly stupid enough to put it in writing when you don't answer the phone. But nonetheless, I never thought I'd go to jail over the crimes I commit, right? I mean, come the fuck
A lot of people Tim represents probably, aren't that surprised that they end up in jail. Whereas like
a lot of people that I guess I met in jail.
You met people in jail. You weren't isolated?
I
was.
Would
she be isolated?
Until probably like the last week I was there.
She's not gonna be isolated the whole time like you.
Where were you living there?
I was living in a segregation section of the jail, and it was,
she was a cop.
23 hours segregation and 1 hour out.
Yep.
And
was it like a unit with like multiple cells and multiple prisoners?
Yes. It was a segregation unit, so like they consider it the whole.
Yes.
But it was also the whole for federal inmates. And I had asked Tim, and after I asked Tim if I could, because I was starting to lose it. Like, I just didn't want to be alone anymore.
23 hours a day.
It was 23 hours.
What'd you do to pass the time? Did you count cinder blocks? That's what I did. I just kept looking at the cinder blocks.
You did a lot of running.
I did during she couldn't do running. I did.
Did you work out, Kelsey? Did you get to run?
So I had a yoga mat. I got a permission for a yoga mat in my cell, and there I did a lot of push-ups. Yeah, there would be days where I'd hop on like an attorney visit with Tim, and I'd be like, "This is how many cinder blocks are on my ceiling," just in case you're curious.
Did that speed up your healing so that you could blow into the thing, the push-ups?
Yeah, so that was.
It must have hurt like hell.
That was the reason I had the yoga mat. It was like a medical reason, and it was so I could get out of jail faster and be able to do.
Oh yeah, because that's ultimately what got you out. You were able to do the scram. That's unfreaking.
And by the way, Aidan, she's a hurdler. Like
you're a hurdler?
I was, and you're a track coach.
You did the hurdles? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Distance and hurdles. Yes.
What? I did the hurdles too. Get out of here.
I did too.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah, he begged. He begged to be able to stay in segregation, basically in the medical unit, because he had too many enemies, he claimed, and he was too afraid to go into general population, is what I'm told from my friends who work there. And so Aidan's too much of a bitch, right? She was in medical because she was shot, but then after you're cleared from medical, you can go into general population if you're not saying like, oh, I'm going to be hurt in general pop, or I have all these people who are going to hurt me in general pop. Like, then you would go into a regular unit after you're cleared, right? Aidan begged. He did not want to be in general pop. He claimed he had too many enemies and it would be all over the jail, so they kept him in medical. And he also claimed his mental health, so they kept him in medical. What they would have done if he was there long term is they would have sent him to Bridgewater, where I worked, to see if we thought that he was competent to stand trial, or if he had so many mental issues that he needed to be sent to Bridgewater to like live for a while. And he would have been sent back quickly, and we would have said he's malingering, which means pretending. There's nothing that's going to keep him from being in a regular jail. He just doesn't want to be in a regular jail. So we would have sent him back for malingering, and would have sent him back with paperwork saying he's malingering, which is the term that we use for basically you're fucking faking it, right? Because a lot of times what'll happen is someone will try to get out of their jail and into Bridgewater because you get a little more, not freedom, but you get perks of being there, right? You're out of your cell a little bit more. You have like certain things for exercise that you don't have in a regular jail. You have certain like therapies, like music therapy and stuff that you wouldn't have in a regular jail, right? You have all these like kitty-like things that will like keep you busy and allow you to have certain things that you wouldn't be able to have in a regular jail. So you get a lot of people who what we call malinger, unfortunately. Right? No sippy cups in prison, bud. We're gonna get you some soap on a rope, but we're gonna cut the rope so that like as soon as you get there, it breaks, and then you're gonna have to pick it up. Don't drop it, bud. Don't drop it. Don't fucking drop the soap. Yeah, right. We have so much in common. Not. Agreed. Agreed, Kim. Well, that's what he's looking for. He's looking for pats on the back, praise. No, notice how he makes it about him again. Well, I did this. Well, me. Sippy cup withdrawal. Rumors have it she wasn't nice in Middleton as a CO. See, I would never have a problem anywhere. I was like, again, I think the one unique stance I had as someone who worked in a jail as like a CO is that I had been someone who sat in a prison cell way in my before I was 20 for just having drugs, right? A probation violation and being a drug addict back then. And so when I went and worked in the prison and did the role of the CO, I now have insight that other COs don't have. I've been the one sitting in that cell, right? I've been the one sitting in that cell feeling like I shouldn't be there, right? And realistically, I shouldn't have been. The probation violation was bullshit. My probation officer was a fucking liar, but that's not here nor there. The point of the matter is the original charge stemmed from just possession, just having drugs, right? Possession. And so my probation officer was a bold-faced fucking liar. And many of the people that she had that I got in touch with afterwards complained about the same things and had to complain to upper top people. But of course, who's going to listen to someone who's committed a crime or who supposedly has committed a crime? No one, right? No one's going to listen to us. No one's going to listen and say, oh, well, we have a problem with this CO. That's not going to fucking happen. So we fend for ourselves at that point, right? But nonetheless, this is the kind of shit that like I had insight into that other people might not have. And so I enjoyed working in a prison, right? Because I enjoyed, like, I used to have inmates that would draw me these really beautiful pictures. And I'd be like, look at your art. Like, look at how talented you are. Instead of coming here to this jail and committing a crime, why don't you do something with the talents that you have, right? Some of these people were very talented when it came to art, like very, very talented, something I could never fucking do. And I'm like, you need to do something with the talents that you were given, you know? You give them a little pick-me-up, man. And in return, since they're not allowed to really do much, they would give you these beautiful pictures that they drew, right? And colored. And they looked beautiful, right? And so I never really got anything but respect from them because I gave them the respect that they gave me, right? I wasn't a hard ass. I didn't treat them like they were just a number or some horrible human being. Not everybody who's there belongs there. That's a fact. Not everybody who's in a prison belongs in a prison, right? And I understood that. And so some people do belong there, right? Some people do, but they're still humans. They're still humans, right? And some people were just really horrible hard asses. And so it wouldn't shock me if she was a hard ass, but that's not going to get you anywhere, right? That's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to get way more pushback from them. They're going to fucking hate you, right? And if they fucking hate you, they're going to give you more problems. You can go by the rules and at the same time not be a dickhead. You can do those things. There's a way to do that and be humane, you know? Oh, thank you, Jesse. I do love this hoodie. It's comfy, but it's very lightweight, you know? Right? A real journalist would have been nice, you know? But whatever. Look at the little buttons. I mean, yeah, right? I learned that she did push-ups in prison. Well, what else? You know, like, what else? Oh, yeah, he absolutely thought that, like, you know, this was going to help him, like, make Karen think twice. Like, oh, Karen, you should do the things that Kelsey's gonna do. Wink, wink, nod, nod. It's fucking weirdo behavior. Weirdo behavior is what we call it here on our show. The weirdo behavior. And he's looking for his next meal ticket. He absolutely is. Absolutely is looking for his next meal ticket. And he'll keep doing it. He'll keep doing it, you know? Yes. Oh my God. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I remember him starting the conversation saying, like, oh, the guard who brought me over to the medical side. And then he was one he complained about that was like an asshole. He said, oh, that guy was a fucking asshole. And it's like, no, you're an asshole. You know, you're a fucking asshole. Like, yeah, they'll make them out of bed sheets. They'll make all sorts of things. They get very creative, you know, very creative. See, that's what I mean. Like, singer, songwriter, some of them could sing like you wouldn't believe. And you're like, why didn't you go on American Idol? Look at how beautiful your voice is. Like so many wasted talents, you know? And I try to point out to them, like, when you get out of here, take your fucking talent and do something with it. You were given a God-given talent not everyone has. Take that talent and do something better for your life, you know? Right? I thought about that too. I'm like, oh, so his little branded collared shirt is supposed to make him look more professional. Okay, well, if you want to look more professional, maybe he could get rid of the wired headphones. Just saying. The fact that he still has wired headphones is fucking crazy to me. See the wire coming down from his headphones? Like, dude, get wireless. Why the fuck do you still have wired headphones? That's crazy to me. That's bonkers. Like, what are we doing here? what are you doing? You know? Right. Most people don't want to make a career out of cases that are done and over with that don't have any other reason to bring them back up. At least with the Just on Route case, there's a reason that needs an independent investigation. You know? The fact is, baby onesie for sale. Don't put, that's gross. See, I could have baby onesies for sale, but they would say something cute for babies, not, you know, something gross like that. I don't have a copy. No. I suspect nobody's going to see a copy of that until after the the next hearing, the permanent one. You know, unless someone shares it publicly, that's not going to be public, you know. It might be impounded as well. I believe the affidavit was impounded. The guard is my neighbor. Oh my God, that's so funny. He did say Aidan got more visits than he lets on. Oh, shocker. I know he used his like tablet to call people day in and day out. All day long he would be on the phone. Day in and day out. Like what a
Here, 3:30.
You're gonna have a 3-way race.
Yeah, we're gonna have a race. I'll race you.
Oh, I will kick all of the ASS.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So what can I ask you some weird what's it like being shot? Like that's my first I always said that was gonna be my first question. Was like,
what's it like being shot? Okay. I'll fill you in, Aidan. It feels like nothing at first, but pressure. And then when your adrenaline wears off, it starts to feel like a burning, like a bee sting, but worse. Like that's the kind of burning, but worse, but like 10 times worse, right? And then it spreads through wherever you've been shot. And it feels like a bee sting that's just flowing up. And then you feel the warmness of the blood. And then you feel that warmness of the blood. And then you realize at that moment that you have been shot. And in that moment, you're like, I don't want to die. The instant thought is, I don't want to die. 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 Then you start panicking and your heart starts beating faster and you're freaking the fuck out. That's what it feels like, sir. In the leg, unfortunately, in my shin when I was almost 20. Wrong place, wrong time. I went to the corner store in Dorchester. How dare I go to the corner store? And I was in the middle of two fucking morons trying to kill each other. So that was fun. But that's what it feels like. That's the best way I can describe it. Is it's like a bee sting, that kind of burning through where you've been shot. And then you feel that warmness of the blood. And then you just start panicking. Like you don't want to die. You know, you don't want to die. I'm not going to ever turn my ad frequency up because that would be shitty for my viewers. So, you know, I don't think that I would ever turn my ad frequency up. I'm sorry that you're really, really sad that Mike blocked you, but we're also going to remove you because we don't deal with trolls. And just because you came here to troll and you had to subscribe to the channel and wait 3 minutes to troll, I'm going to put all of the donation information up just because you had something to say about it. I would never turn my ad frequency up. It's on the middle where it should be. Because my viewers don't need an ad every 10 seconds just so that I can make a couple extra dollars. Yeah. See, I'm not shitty like the turtle. You might want to go back there, you know. HQ is calling. Turtle HQ is calling you. You know what I find so funny is they have no problem with Aidan making money, right? They have no problem with him reading his turtle chats or telling people where his stuff is or anybody else having it scrolling on their screen. But me, specifically me, they have a problem with, right? They have a problem with the small channel, the small channel. Now, if I was at 160,000 subscribers, I would never have to remind people that it's a small channel to donate because it wouldn't be a small channel and I could sustain my channel basically on just like memberships alone. But I'm not a channel of 160,000 subscribers yet. So therefore, sometimes I do have to remind people where it is because I cannot afford to pay for it all on my own, unfortunately. But since you wanted to troll, I will happily put up the donation information for anybody else who does want to support the channel. They know that there's a bunch of different ways. Maybe they don't because we have new people all the time. Right? We have new people all the time. So if you don't know how to donate to the channel, guys, there is a bunch of different ways. And since the troll wanted to troll about that, we'll tell you again where they are. They are, on Cash App or Venmo or PayPal, or we do have an Amazon wish list. We have 2 actually. And then we have Chime and Revolut and Super Chats and Super Stickers and memberships. And, I appreciate any and all support, unlike the Sewer Turtle and his crew. So since you wanted to troll about it, I guess we'll just remind people where it is. Just for you, troll. Just for you. Just for you. Just for you. I know. How dare I? How fucking dare I? Kelsey and Brittle hostage. It kind of does feel a little bit hostagey, Who shot you? Oh my God. I forgot about that song till you just said that. No. It's freedom of speech. She can do interviews. It's freedom of speech. The smear campaigns are another thing, but you'd have to, prove and tie it to them, Right? That's exactly it. You're exactly right. Making changes. You're exactly right. Right? Well, that's the thing is in order to troll here, you have to subscribe to the channel and then wait 3 minutes to make a comment and troll. That's why I do that, because that just goes to show you how pathetic they are, is you have to wait 3 minutes after you've subscribed to the channel to make a trolling comment. If you're that invested on making a troll comment, then you're pretty fucking pathetic, because I am not subscribing to wait 3 minutes to write a troll comment. I'm not doing that. Not wasting my fucking time doing that. Sorry, not fucking sorry. And I don't watch Aidan's channel, and a lot of people ask me to do this like recap on the interview because I don't watch it and most other people don't. We can only take them in small doses, But how dare I do what every other YouTuber does? How dare me? I am a horrible person. I'm terrible, Fuck. Jeez. Oh, God.
Like, I can't believe you got shot. Like,
Agreed,
that's
Matt.
Tim. Imagine you got shot.
Agreed.
Like in the hand.
Swimming in the sewer.
How much that would hurt?
Can't even.
What's that
You
like?
gave-
Getting shot.
You
Like, that's
gave some
crazy.
good
You get
testimony
tons of
about that.
ads?
Yeah.
You shouldn't. It's set on the middle.
No, it's a
which
stupid
is what it
question.
should
But
be.
like, what's that like getting shot?
It's not a stupid question. I get asked that a lot. And I explained it as
Cool.
absent pain, but it truly
Yeah, for a
felt
minute,
like
you don't know it's there. Then,
um,
hits you like a ton of bricks.
a force that burned
Totally
the whole
welcome.
inside of my body.
Oof,
Is
I've
the
never
only
been
way I
shot in a
can
lung,
explain
so-
it. It was such a heavy force, and in my training, I have been sprayed twice, and I've also been tased.
Well, they spray you in
So-
the face when you, as an officer in training.
Something like that. I
Yeah, you know what it
assume. I mean,
feels
it's
like to
just-
breathe
Do you
shit
realize you
in.
were shot when you were shot? You're like, I've been
Yeah.
shot. Like holy shit. Like, I
Yes.
just got shot. I'm gonna die. You probably thought. You think you were gonna die?
Yes.
That's the
Should
first
be
thing you
crazy.
think.
But you live.
You know, when
That's
you
we never
10
realize-
wild.
millimeters, right, Kels? 10 millimeters?
9.
It's 9
Oh, no,
millimeters
I
away
mean
from
10
killing you.
millimeters away from your spine,
Right.
right? Wasn't it? I know it was a
Spine.
9 millimeter
Oh, no,
cartridge, but
It's
wasn't it like 10 millimeters from your spine or something?
it's less than an inch away from my spine.
Wow.
And
That's
that would have been it.
Right? They lost 10 minutes.
Let me ask you another question.
Through that.
What's it like? How do you feel about Houston and Daly, especially Houston,
Ooh,
who you invited to your wedding?
tell me
Like,
too.
what's
I
it
wanna
like
know.
sitting there listening to those guys? You invited him to your wedding and he testified against you. What's that like?
It's life.
I
That's right, Kim. They did.
think that specific police department, and this doesn't go for all, because
I just make
there
fun of them
are
at this
good
point. So
cops
stupid.
and there are bad cops.
It's so
And I'm not
stupid.
saying everybody on the North Andover Police Department is a bad cop, but I am saying that if you want to keep your
Interesting.
job there, you're a part of the boys club. And the boys club consists of keeping your story straight.
Shirley Max.
And when Houston was testifying, I remember looking at Tim and I said, he doesn't believe what he's saying. And Tim said, I know.
The questions get better.
And that kind of just says it all.
Yeah.
He had a funny affect up there. I don't know.
There was a lot of betrayal going on. You had to watch your friends get up there.
Betrayal.
What, Michelle, was that her name? Oh my God. I thought I had bad friends. Watching her get up there and do that. What's her problem? Like, what'd you do to these people? What's their problem? You seem so likable. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, I don't get it. I've had a couple conversations.
Oh, boy.
You seem very nice. And I just don't understand
probably don't draw a
the
gun,
level.
probably.
That's gotta hurt. Cause I know what it feels like to be betrayed.
No, you
Does
don't.
that sting you or does it not bother you?
You do not know what it's like to be betrayed. You know what it's like to have your lies exposed because you're blaming other people, Aidan. Stop it. Fucking stop it. There's no betrayal. He doesn't have friends. There's a difference. I know what it's like to be betrayed. You don't have friends, nor have you ever had friends. You have minions. You have people who want to seem important and want a pat on the head from a turtle. You don't have friends, sir. Okay? You don't have friends. That's not a thing. Watch out, run, Mango. I can't. Oh, I can't. I fucking can't.
It all stings.
It's kind of cringe. Not gonna lie.
I think that after everything I've been through, she falls low on the category of what hurts.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
So guys, we probably shouldn't go
Hallelujah,
there
my friend.
because this Michelle chick is
Okay.
going to probably be testifying in this thing. So let me suggest, Aidan.
A witness.
Kelsey, Aidan
Dumbass.
was talking to me earlier that he saw us talking while Carp was reading his verse.
Common sense would say don't bring up any of the witnesses because it can be misconstrued as witness intimidation, you dumb fuck. But of course, Aidan's not so smart. So, he wouldn't know to stay away from that. Clearly, it sounds like Tim probably did talk to him before this and kind of tell him to, and he must have forgot, huh? Must have forgot. Must have just forgot, Well, that's the other thing. I know the reason why people who are fucking, quote, close to Aidan turn on him, and it's because of the deplorable, disgusting fucking things that he does, The disgusting thing, I'm taking one for the team today. Usually I refuse to give it a view as well, but I'm taking one for the full team of us. This is so award winning. Let me tell you, he doesn't have fucking friends. He doesn't know what it's like to be betrayed by friends. Nobody's betraying him. That's the difference. People are telling the truth that he's hiding. People are telling the truth about him trying to set other people up for his own shit. That's not betrayal. That's the truth. I said that earlier. You must have missed that part. I said he lost his pupils. I think they're in his pocket. He lost them. They don't exist. Ian Byron Jamsangi, in my opinion, over here. Right? I'm likable, but I did stupid shit when I was younger because I was a very broken little girl, And I say little girl because I was a little girl. It's real. It's real. It's raw and it's real, It's ridiculous. Well, that's the other thing. Right? It's like you until Aidan says you're unlikable or you're a villain or something, and then magically all of a sudden you're a villain because he said so. And I just don't. I'm not buying that. I make my opinions about people based on the way they treat me, not on what other people say. Not that this person said they suck or that person said they suck or this person said they did this horrible thing or this person did this horrible thing. Because do you know how many lies have come out of Aidan's mouth she's this horrible person who did this horrible thing. And I was like, hey, where was I for that horrible thing? Because I was never there for that. So my point is when people just lie and say shit that never happened and isn't a thing, they can say whatever they want about you. So it's probably smart to not take Sewer Turtle said so as a reason why you don't like someone. It's probably stupid to say, well, I don't like this person because the Sewer Turtle said they're bad. It's probably stupid. You know what I mean? Well, that's half his problem. But the dirt that he gets is almost always just fifth, sixth information lies. It's just, well, this person heard from this person and this person heard it from this person. But the person that goes to Aidan pretends like they heard it firsthand or saw it firsthand because they really want to be credited with the pat on the back he's going to give them. So they pretend that they actually saw it or heard it when in reality they did not, and nobody even knows who the fuck they are. I've watched this happen a million times where someone will claim something happened, that they know this person. In reality, they don't know this person. They know nothing about this person. They just wanted to be part of the show, right? They wanted to bring evidence or information, even if it wasn't true. They didn't care because that person wasn't liked by Aidan. So who gives a shit anyway? You know, like this is the kind of people we're talking about, right? These are not people that bring facts or real shit. They make shit up, they hear it seventh hand, and then Aidan says it as if it's true, you know? But good for you, you know, for going face to face with him, making changes, because I'll do it any fucking day. As you guys heard on that Spaces, he sure the fuck didn't want to talk to me because I was calling him out every time he tried to gaslight or change the subject or ask a question with a question. He's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. He didn't want to talk to YBE. He didn't want to talk to me. He would only talk to Sparkly or Nina, right? I only talked to Sparkly or Nina because he knew I was not going to allow him to sit there and lie and gaslight and spin and ask a question after a question is asked of him. I was not going to play that fucking game. And he knew right then and there I wasn't going to allow him to do what he normally does. And he needs to be allowed to do what he normally does. Otherwise, he looks like an idiot, right? So just saying. That's half of his problem. That is half of his fucking problem. Is he cannot deal with people who can call him out, who know what he's going to do before he's going to do it, because then his whole game is exposed. So, you know, right? His favorite 3 numbers. I mean, for someone who claims all the cops all the time are corrupt, this guy oftentimes uses the cops, right? He's calling the cops, trying to make up all these false charges on people, and I've watched him do it so many times at this point that it's getting fucking old. Let me go grab a water and play a little bit more of this, but I got to get a water. I'm thirsty and my throat hurts.
Remember that?
Yeah, and I want to bring that up.
I thought that was cute. We had that exchange.
Yeah,
and you kept asking me.
So yeah, so that was it was a 10-minute verdict, right? And I'm gonna bring up the footage of that, but it was like a roller coaster ride being in the courtroom. And I want to do right now, if we could, if you guys don't mind, a little play-by-play of that. And you tell me what you were thinking when, because you guys were whispering to each other. And I think a lot of people would like to know, what you guys were talking about. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to pause it periodically, just ask you, you know, what introductory words.
God, I'm going to have to put it on 2 times for this.
This is not in my script. This has been one of the more exhausting, hardest things I've had to do as a judge, as an attorney.
He's such a genuine, kind man. I just love him.
He was a little off the cuff.
Guy.
It's like whatever. I forgot what I was saying, but
he was standing up. That was one of the things that was huge to me. He was standing up, and I was not intimidated by him because he is very genuine and you can tell he's very fair, but he was standing up and I knew it was real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was, I mean, this must've been, I was looking at you, you look extremely nervous as somebody would expect, you know, when they're hearing a verdict, but he went on.
Like over 385. In some case, there's no requirement that judges may reason for reaching a verdict after criminal bench trial. I do so in this case because I think that as citizens, officer union, you're all involved in fact that's too very quickly.
Yeah, there you are.
Pause.
Okay, yeah.
So right there, I had looked at him and I said, what does that mean? Because he said I was credible, and
we haven't gotten to that part yet. Yes. You said the part. Yeah.
I think there was a couple of them.
Yeah, you'll see. He thanks Tim. So he gives Tim a good job. Great job, Tim. Be nice to the DA.
Right. Hard-hitting journalism here, folks.
So this you should think, not respect. For those of you that serve as police officers is easy, but officers don't care if they find their work. I say when 3 decades of experience in the criminal justice system, that you are naive, misinformed, and sadly
Stop right there. This is the part that made me nervous the most. What were you guys, when he starts saying cops are all awesome, everybody be nice to cops, that worried the shit out of me. How'd you feel when you heard that?
I'll touch on that. When I was in the hospital, I told Tim, like, police officers have a huge job. Number one, we zip up our vest every day before work. And I think I can speak for every police officer, whether you're religious or spiritual, you zip up that vest and you say a little prayer. Okay. So there's that. So when you're being questioned, oh, you're on edge for this, you're on edge for that, that goes for everything. And I think that when you're in a split second decision, you can make mistakes, no matter who you are and how well you're trained. And that's what happens here. And I think that I said in my very first statement when I was in the hospital in July, cops make mistakes. We're all human. But not admitting to those mistakes is what makes you not human. And that's basically my whole trial.
But when you heard him say that, did you think that was a positive or a negative thing, him saying good things about cops like that? Do you think that, how did you think, because I'm sure you were thinking the whole time, is he gonna convict me or not convict me? Did you think
you were asking me?
I asked him and I was like, what does this mean?
And what'd you tell you?
So after that, so lean to your right, and I'll lean to my right.
Okay. So he said, oh, cops are good.
The screen just lean to your right. Lean that way.
Lean to me. You're leaning to me.
There you go. She goes like that.
Yeah. All right.
And she's like, is this good?
This is
And she
good.
did it, and I go, neutral.
Neutral.
And then she does it again in a minute. Is this good? I go, neutral. But I have a different take on that, Aidan, because Kelsey and Courtney was hearing me saying this. If a judge is like, telling you to sit down and that's enough and stop it, you won. You got to be careful when the judge is saying, oh, anything else, Mr. Bradle? Remember, McCarthy was always like, anything else, Mr. Bradle? Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else? That's when you know you lose.
Yeah.
And this is sort of like that, where he's praising the cops. So I know what's coming after he's done praising the cops is the big but. So I was feeling good.
So you weren't that neutral. You didn't
I
think
was
that
feeling good. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to get ahead of it with her, but deep down I thought it was good.
You're very optimistic. You always tell me everything's gonna be fine, even when it's not.
Good to know.
Yeah. Oh, he's
Yeah.
not gonna go. Let's see, no, jail.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear that one? You always tell me everything's going to be fine, even when it's not. Well, no shit. You think he's going to tell you it's going to go badly when he knows it's going badly? No. Stand for all grim. Oh, I try to shut my camera off if I'm gonna but usually if I'm gonna do a bottle of water, I just take a sip of my bottle of water. I don't need a sippy straw. I don't need it's fucking water. Okay, it's fucking water. I'm just gonna take a sip of water. It's not that serious. He's worried about the noises. Apparently people complained about the noise it makes when you take a sip. Oh, fucking well, I'm thirsty and I'm sitting here for a few hours. So if I have to take a sip, I have to take a fucking sip. I don't think my audience is going to be, like his bitching and whining because I took a sip. But that big ass cup is all because of his self-conscience about the noise of the sipping. Well, that's the other thing. It's because he's constantly taking little tiny sips and putting it down. And then another sip, take a good swig. You'll be good for a few. You'll be good for a few, buddy. I promise.
So when I was in front of McCarthy and she seemed angry about the scram situation, and I leaned over to Tim and Martha and I said, am I going back to jail? And they both were like, absolutely not a chance in this universe are you going back to jail over this. This is a medical difficulty. There are alternatives and you're not going to jail. But when she walked off the bench, I had more anxiety when she walked off the bench than I did for the couple hours that Judge Karp deliberated.
No, I can imagine because you're going to jail.
That was insane. And I should say, guys, there's 3 pending judicial complaints against her for her actions on this case. One of which is from me,
Really?
and 2 are from folks that are in our circle here.
And you know what set her off the more I listen to that? It's when you said the word torture. She's she taunted you with that a couple times.
Yeah,
She was like,
yeah.
oh, since you call it torture.
Yeah.
And
Okay, we don't want to torture her, so I guess we put her in jail.
Right.
Right.
And then she was like, oh, this is
That was his fault.
8th Amendment violation. And she kind of
It's
made
not.
Tim agree to that. But Tim never went out of his way to say, this is what it is, cruel and unusual. But it was.
I really didn't even mean it in the 8th Amendment way. I just kind of meant it in the colloquial way. That this is really hard.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. She directed you into that way. And that's
Please
not
hold the
understanding.
I
Well,
think
the
she just
times
didn't
were
like the
just
word, the
crossing.
use of the word torture. And she's like, oh, you want to use hyperbolic terms? I can be hyperbolic too. Let's put you in jail. You want to be hyperbolic? And it was just but we all knew what you meant. It was just
Just a judge that would do something like that is,
inhuman.
insane.
Oh,
We-
where?
if that was Suffolk County, we
Happens
would have been
every day.
in and out of there in 5 minutes. Especially where we had the PO saying she's fine, she's trying, she's in a lot of pain.
The PO doesn't decide. Every good attorney knows that. The PO can be on your side until the end of fucking time. All right. The judge decides. Oh, thank you, Melinda. Thank you so much. The judge decides, not the PO. The PO can be on your side, but if there's something suspicious going on there and the judge thinks that you're being a little chummy with the PO, that you're, is supposed to be sort of neutral in all of this, and she thinks some shady shit's going down, You should be explaining the worst case scenario to your client. And if you're trying to remove 2 out of the 3 bail conditions of release in 3 days, then you can expect to be put back in jail. It's common sense, you know? Not only should it's not good decorum, right? Because if you ever go in front of that judge again, you risk pissing that fucking judge off hardcore, number 1. Number 2, it's not good. Like, other attorneys don't shit on other attorneys. Attorneys don't shit on judges publicly, usually because God forbid you ever end up in front of that fucking judge again, right? Like, that's, you know, it's unwritten rules, you know? I mean, to me, like, I just, there's, like, I love this for Aidan. Let's just throw that out there. I love this for Aidan. I love that Aidan thinks his attorney is a good attorney. I love that Bradel, in his mind, thinks he's some grand attorney for winning this very small case of assault with a dangerous weapon, because his arguments were fucking horrible. And I'm not the only person who said that or believes that he's unprepared all the time, that he's bumbling around, that he's always spilling narrative. And when a judge pushes him to give a legal argument, not a narrative, he stumbles all over himself, you know, and that's not good lawyering. It's not good. Lawyering 101 is don't piss off the fucking judge on purpose. When he tried to imply that it was cruel and unusual punishment or that it was torture, which is something he said in court, like, you could, I mean, hello, you're telling the judge that it's cruel or unusual punishment to give her the same device that they give most people in these scenarios. It's not cruel and unusual punishment. Stop it. And if it was hurting her, right, if it was hard for her to do, then that's when you bring a letter from a doctor saying why medically she cannot do it. And you hand that to the judge and say, Your Honor, the doctor has said this is something that could we change it to something that she can do that's not blowing into a device hard because she was shot and it's, you know, with her lung. And so here's the letter from the doctor stating that this is hurting her medically, right? Like, that was what he should have done. Instead, what he fails to mention in all of this is that he wasn't just trying to remove the scram. He was trying to remove 2 out of the 3 bail conditions. Judges who will let you off with bail conditions, if you then try to remove basically all of those conditions, except for the one, which really was nothing, which was like the basic probation, like, then essentially there are no conditions. And if there are no conditions, then back to jail you go until we can figure out other conditions that are going to keep you, you know, accountable, right? You get allowed out with conditions for a reason. If you then try to take those conditions away, then you will go back to jail. It happens to people all the fucking time. Most attorneys, though, are not stupid enough to try to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions in the 3 days that you've been out of jail, because they know what that means. Tim Bradel was dumb enough to try to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions in the first 3 days she was home. That was fucking stupid. Try to remove the 1, which is the scram, which was the big one, and replace it with something else. Then you wait a while before you try to remove a second one. He tried to remove 2 right away after you just signed off on them to get her released. It's common sense. Common fucking sense, dude.
We need to do something else. We would have been in and out in 5 minutes. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what is going on up there. I'm just so disgusted.
I don't know what's going
with
on
that
in any court that doesn't do anything else.
Not the court, with certain people in the court, I should say.
I mean, it's a human being.
Bingo.
You know, like, this is
No,
like
She's playing games. She's
I
playing
was
games.
Loves
a
torture.
human being because Tim said, this is really hurting her. And she said, Miss Fitzsimmons is a defendant. In lieu of incarceration, she was put on the scram device.
That's how it works for everybody, not for nothing, but she's not getting special treatment. There are conditions of release. If those conditions are not in place, you go back to jail until we can figure out what other conditions we can have for you to be released. If there are no other conditions that we could really put that apply, then you sit in jail. That's how it works. She wasn't treated like anyone else would have been treated. If there are no conditions, you go back until we can figure something else out. They don't figure it out right then and there, just like every other defendant. You go back to jail, you wait, you get another court date, and you get dragged in. Some people have to wait 60, 90 days before they get dragged back in for something like this. This is how it works for everyone, not just her. No defendant is treated humanely as if they're human. Every defendant is just a defendant in a judge's eyes who could hurt someone, right? That's what they look at us as. right? I was in, I remember being in that box. I remember being in handcuffs. I also remember working in a prison, right? My life went full circle. So I remember. And was I treated humanely? No. Did they believe a word coming out of my mouth or my attorneys, even if it was the truth? No, no. If my attorney had tried to remove the conditions of release, I would have gone back to jail. That's how it works, literally.
And
you don't get
You
special
sound just like
treatment.
her.
Yeah, you really do.
Holy shit.
That's
I just
how
got
I
kind of
talk.
chills there.
Oh my God.
And how I talk.
Yeah.
But
I need emotions, not
she said
federal
those were her
letters.
exact words. And in that moment, I knew I was guilty until proven innocent because she said
That
That's
was
how it
the
always
last
works.
is a
Let's
defendant.
be honest.
She doesn't deserve to.
Well, what were you going to be called? You are a defendant. That's that you're being accused of the crime, right? And this is one of my biggest problems with the legal system, which is you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But we all know that's not the way it works. They assume you're guilty until you try to prove yourself fucking innocent. Let's be honest. That's the way it's always fucking been, no matter how much they want to say you're innocent until proven guilty. We all have to prove our fucking innocence, and if we don't, guess what? We get found guilty. That's always how it has worked, right? As a police officer, she must have known common sense. Like, you're a defendant to a judge. That's what you are. You're a danger to society to that judge for what has been alleged. Therefore, they need conditions of release to make sure that you're held accountable and they know where you are and they know what's going on and they know you're not using drugs or alcohol or anything else that's going to alter your state of mind so that something crazy happens, right? If you try to remove those things that are holding you accountable, then there's nothing to hold you accountable. So therefore, they cannot let you out into society. They have to put you back into jail. I've watched this happen to numerous people. She's not the only one this happened to. It's not rare. It's not weird. Like, what is weird and what is rare is a lawyer trying to remove 2 out of 3 bail conditions in the first 3 days someone's released. That is rare. No attorney is usually dumb enough to try to do that, knowing that that's going to send their client probably back to fucking jail. I mean, I've never seen a lawyer attempt that, to remove 2 out of 3. To remove 1, I've seen. And even that sometimes goes haywire and they go back, right? If it's the big one that's keeping them accountable, then the judge is like, well, if we can't do this and there's no other alternative, then back to jail they go. Like, I watched it happen over and over and over in multiple courts, Norfolk, Suffolk, and Bristol County. I can't speak to the other counties, but I've watched it happen in Norfolk, Suffolk, and Bristol County. So, I mean, there's nothing new here. And this was Essex, I believe, right? Essex County. So again, this is not new. It's not crazy that happened. It sucks that it happened, right? It sucks that she had to sit in jail longer, right? But it was her attorney who was unprepared that got her that, right? That's what happened. Yep. Dude, listen, even if you have the evidence to prove something being wrong, like a PO saying something that, is wrong or incorrect, even if you have the proof to back it up, sometimes they'll still stick your ass back in jail. Like, oh, fuck it. We're not even going to look at your evidence. Back to jail you go. Like, there's nothing new about this. You are just a defendant, unfortunately. That's what you are in this system, is a defendant. Like, it's unfortunate, but like, that's the way it works.
Be able to pee in a cup and prove that she's not on drugs. I've never.
Yeah, but they weren't looking for just drugs. They were looking for alcohol, and alcohol is out of your system in an hour to 2 hours per drink. So they're not going to do urines for alcohol, right? And the only device that they can use for alcohol would be a breathing device. Whether it's the scram or other breathing devices, the ones that they use for alcohol are breath devices because alcohol is out of your urine so quickly. That is why they would have never given urine, and that is why it was a clusterfuck. There wasn't an easily replaceable condition that you could give her. If she couldn't blow into it because of the alcohol, then urines weren't really going to be on the same level, right? There's a reason why they give anybody suspected of using alcohol or accused of using alcohol the breathalyzer type machines, and that is because it comes out of your urines way too quick. And they can't really, you could be drinking and they wouldn't know it. That's why they use the breath devices. And so there was no equivalent. The judge didn't really have an equivalent to just quickly replace the scram with something else. Urines would not have sufficed to that, And this is exactly why the Supreme Court agreed with the judge's assessment of it. Let's remember that. Bradel can bitch and whine about it until the cows come home. But you went to a higher court, and the higher court agreed with the judge.
On drugs in my life, first of all. So this was outrageous. absolutely outrageous. That's the only word I have for it.
And I'm sorry, like, I know what that's
Yeah,
like.
that was-
I know
that
what it's
was
like to shockingly go to jail when you don't expect it, and how lonely it is in there as a it is a higher profile person. Like it's a million times worse. The isolation. I asked him. I was begging to be put in jail. I go, I'd rather get beat up. If they're worried about like security concerns, it's more painful being in isolation. Would you agree?
I think I said that to you, and I was like, I got threatened a lot in jail because
Because you're a cop. No.
it was on the news, and I was a police officer, and I was recognized. But let me say this. I had a lot of supporters in my family sending me books. So I had a stack of books in my cell about yay high 2 times. And I guess that made me likable. And I used that to my advantage in the last, I would say, week or 2. Because I could not be in solitary confinement any longer. I didn't care who it talked to. I couldn't be there anymore. I just couldn't.
I'm with you on that. It's like the wanting to talk to human beings, no matter who the hell they are, is like a need that all human beings have. And you don't realize it until you're in jail. Like I will talk to anyone. Any low life, I don't care who I talk to. I need to talk to someone.
And I have to give a huge Courtney was my rock. Courtney, I don't know if I would have made it through without her.
You guys were on the phone every day. She like kept the FaceTime going, right?
Yeah, we were allowed to FaceTime because she was on the defense team. And
deeply concerning. And I'm just going to say why. Because Courtney is not a well woman. Okay. Courtney is not a well human being. And to be honest, he will not talk to anyone. That's a lie. He absolutely will not talk to anybody. If he really wants to talk to someone, he should probably talk to a psychiatrist, a therapist, psychoanalyst, anyone like that. But he absolutely will not talk to anyone. And Courtney being your rock, I'm sorry, but really, and I mean really, is seriously fucking concerning. Courtney is not a well human being. She has some real severe mental health issues that are unresolved, in my opinion, and is not a well human being up here. Okay. That woman this is the same woman that went around calling and messaging my viewers and mods claiming that she's known me for 25 years and she doesn't even know my kids' names or where I live or my husband's names or how many kids I have. Last time Courtney saw me, I was about 20 years old. Do you know how many lives she's ruined since then? I have a multitude of people who would love to do fucking endless interviews about the way Courtney's ruined people's lives. She's an insane person, in my opinion. She's not fucking well in the brain. The fact that Tim hired her with first of all, knows nothing about being a paralegal, okay? He hired her because Aidan asked him to, because she was a turtle rider. Not because she was a experienced paralegal, not because she knew what the fuck she was doing, just she's a busybody. Okay, an absolute fucking busybody. That's it. The woman is not okay in the fucking head. So for Courtney to have been her quote rock is deeply concerning to me. You do not want someone who swim fanned another woman, aka Leah can speak to this, right? Courtney became obsessed with Leah, befriended her, and then literally fucking was like the creepy, weird, I'm going to take over your life stalker, right? You're driving her car, you're answering her phone, you're wearing her fucking clothes, you're being a weirdo, okay? I could see that happening to Kelsey with Courtney. She's not fucking well, okay? So that's deeply concerning in my opinion. In my opinion, Courtney's not a well human being and needs her own fucking, help in that capacity, Yeah, that one made me laugh too. Sorry, I have to find bubble wrap. So here we go.
Every single day we FaceTimed. And when I was in my cell 23 hours a day, I was able to go to a place where there was a window and I could see outside and I could talk to her. And it wasn't normal, but it was taking me out of like a really bad place. And honestly, like she's more than just a paralegal.
No, she's not.
She's amazing. She has a great heart.
She's done that for some of my other clients too.
I know a guy. I
know a guy whose phones that she hid illegally, that the unethical attorney gave to her to hide so that he wouldn't have to be caught altering audio. Oh, yep, that was Aidan. Forgot about that. Yep. So I find it funny. Courtney just wants to be in the mix of everything. She wants to feel important. She's a very much a fucking busybody and has ulterior motives. She's not a good person. She doesn't have a good heart. She cares about herself, just like Aidan. It's really sick and sad that as a attorney, Mr. Tim Bradle here does not recognize the signs of unwell people. Okay, attaching one of your clients to a very unwell person who had no business being a paralegal to begin with doesn't ring as being a smart fucking decision. No, he would not, even if they hadn't changed his hearing today, which they did, he wouldn't have gotten locked up. A civil restraining order does not revoke someone's bail. You would have to break that restraining order for the bail to be revoked.
Yeah, like I talked to Courtney. I didn't really know her before I went to jail, and I found myself talking to her for hours on end.
Interesting.
Every day, and it helped me she helped me get through jail too a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and Tina Murray did too. They both did. They really helped me both get through jail a lot, and I'll never forget that. And that you'll always carry that with you.
Or did forget that though.
Courtney is a true like backseat hero, is how I would describe her. She allowed to sit at our table during our trial, and I thought that was huge because Tim can agree she's a huge backseat hero.
She's got everything at her fingertips. She knows where everything is.
Yep.
Yeah, I was with her the night, and Tim, the night that you were thrown in jail, because I think I had court the next day. We went out with Bettero, and they were just so bummed, and they were just like because they had told me what happened. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And you know, Courtney told me that you guys talked
more bad decisions. Sorry, we were buffering. Yeah, it's weird ass shit, bro. Like, first of all, he did know Courtney ahead of time. She was a turtle writer, like a turtle writer. Like, that's how she got a paralegal job with no paralegal experience whatsoever. I literally can't. It would have if he didn't stop being like me, but he cannot do that. You know, right? I didn't mean to send you that weird video, wink, wink, nod, nod. I mean, imagine wearing clothes every single day, promoting yourself every single day. Like, no, thank you. I have 2 hoodies that promote my channel. I wear them periodically, but I don't wear them every fucking day. That would be weird. No, they changed the date.
The assault with intent to murder charge was no bill, was rejected, and she didn't miss a beat. Like anywhere else, that would have just been personal recognizance right away. And then the other thing was the lack of recognition of the guidelines. That the guidelines were that this is a person that would get probation if she pled guilty on the spot. She'd very likely get probation. Then the third thing was we had 2 clinicians that said she wasn't a danger. She didn't even miss a beat in ignoring that. And there were just so many things that were just ridiculous. And I think that garbage about she doesn't know that you have a broken rib and it hurts, and that she doesn't know about other alternatives to testing besides scram. She was really giving us the business, like crazy stuff that you would never expect. And
during my arraignment, a lot of what.
Once again, to be clear, there is no alternative to scram that isn't another breath test. So again, that would be correct, and the judge would also be correct in that aspect. A urine is an alternative, but it would not give them what they need. Alcohol is out of your urine within an hour or 2. Okay? So there's a reason why scram is given when it comes to alcohol. The only other alternative to scram is another breathing device. So that's nonsense. I do not believe that to be true. I looked into that and I did not find that to be true. I don't know why people keep saying that. It's not a thing. Yeah, of course he tries to compare a situation to hers. It's nothing like hers, nothing like hers. Of course it's not about him being his lawyer, but of course Aidan has to have everything. We need a sip counter. Oh my God, wouldn't that be funny? Sip counter. Oh. I mean, I'm told they changed the restraining order hearing today to the 14th. So I don't know. The problem is that it's impounded, so I can't. It's not. I can only go by what other people tell me. And as of right now, I'm told it was moved. That it was moved from today to the 14th, like the other one was, so they could do both of them that day. But I love to see lots of people in chat. I love to see it. Yep, like the stream. Yes, please. Yes, please. Please like the stream, and you guys know how to. Oh, this goes on for a while. Oh, okay, until here. Y'all know how to support the stream, but I will remind everyone how to do so. We have Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We have an Amazon wish list. Well, we have two. We have memberships. Y'all can get yourself a membership. You can give memberships to other people. And then we have super chats and super stickers, which are also nice. And then when the video is over, we have super thanks, because you can't do super chats when the video is not live anymore. But there are super thanks that you can leave in the comments, which is kind of cool. But the most direct routes to the creator is Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and then we have our link that works for any credit or debit card. It's in the top of the chat. It's pinned to the top. It's called our Justice Chat. And then it's also in the description of the video here on YouTube, as is everything else, including our Chime and our Revolut. And I couldn't get by without all of you, right? As an independent channel, I don't rely on the Sewer Turtle and the Sewer crew, who rely on each other's viewers to push in money. So they have to, like, make sure that each one of them are happy with each other, right? They have to, like, kiss each other's asses constantly to make sure that that money keeps coming in. We're an independent. We don't run in that way. He does have a donation link. He has what's called Turtle Chats that he pins to the top of his. I don't know not for her, as far as I can tell, this is it. What he has is Turtle Chats pinned to the top of his chat for his own, making of money. But doesn't look like he has anything scrolling across the screen for Kelsey, interestingly enough. But he's always checking my pockets, which I find funny. There's not much in my pockets, bud. Like, stop checking my pockets. Check your own goddamn pockets. Maybe do something nice for someone once in your life and try to rectify some of that narcissism that you got going on over there. Like, no, I don't think it doesn't look like it. This is his stream, so if it was there, it would be on the screen, right? Unless it's in his chat by one of his mods, it's not on his screen. And he has his Turtle Chat pinned to the top of the chat, so. But, all right, let's play the rest of this while I got to run around and find the bubble wrap that I had somewhere. I'm going to play more of this. You guys know how to support the channel. Every little bit helps, and we're going to need it, especially upcoming. The rest of this week is mostly just en route, and we got a lot of audio, we got a lot of video, we got a lot of documents, and yeah, we need all the help we can get, for sure.
I feel like wasn't recognized is how much work I put into my mental health during my hospital stay. Yes, I was 100% there because I was shot in the chest, and there was a lot of complications from that and a lot of surgeries. But every single day, whether there was a surgery or a complication, I met with a physician that knew my mental health and helped me through it. So before I was even put in jail, every single day of those 53 days, I was trying very hard to heal myself, and I got there. So she was so concerned
when you first went there.
She was so concerned with my mental health. However, she sent me to a place where there was a lack of, and
terrible setback.
So wrong.
Tim, what is that like as a lawyer, Tim? Like, I often think about it from your perspective. Like, I'm the one that was in jail. She's the one that's in jail, whatever. What's it like as a lawyer to feel so helpless to know that your client is going to be in jail and you can't do anything to stop it? What's that?
Yeah, I had pretty good luck on bail stuff, and the fact that you two were the ones in jail was Courtney too. Like, we couldn't sleep. Like, we could not sleep with you guys in jail. It was just such a insane injustice that happened.
Please.
And it just, we had to endure it. And at least with yours, Aidan, we bumped it from 90 to 60. So that was good. But
this is harder because it was indefinite. You never knew when hers was going to end. Right?
He's a fucking
that was
attorney.
Insane. And I can't believe we didn't get anywhere with the SJC. We put so much work into that. And I love how she it was just frustrating. And
yeah.
Did you hear that CYA speech she gave when we came back? When Kelsey could do the breathing, she could do the scram.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no alternative right now.
You could have come to me. We're gonna come back there to that hellhole of.
So unfortunately, until the court or someone else comes up with another alternative for alcohol specifically, just alcohol for that breathalyzer, then there is no alternative, right? So that's the problem. It's not that they should go back to jail, but that's the alternative. I mean, unfortunately, they don't have another alternative for the scram other than another breathing device, right? They have other breathing devices for alcohol besides the scram. But for alcohol, for drugs, they just use urine testing, hair testing, right? For alcohol, it's different because of the way it comes and goes from your system. I'm not saying it's right? I'm not saying that that's what they should do, but no, you cannot get alcohol from a urine test from days ago. No, you can't. Alcohol comes out of your system within an hour to 2 hours per drink. They cannot do urine. If I drank a drink right now at 2 o'clock and my urine was tomorrow at 3 o'clock, it's not going to be in there. That is exactly why they came up with the devices like Scram for breath, because it's the only way to catch people drinking in the act without it being out of their system fast enough. So no, you're not going to get urine tomorrow from me drinking today and it be positive. It has to hit so many, like there's a thing where if it's under this amount, it's negative. If it's above this amount, it's positive. So even if they took a urine and it shows an under a certain amount, it's not a positive, it's a negative. Because it comes out of your system so fast, that is the way that alcohol is treated. But that's, if you've had clients jailed because of it, then you should know, like, that's why they use breathing devices, right, for alcohol, because alcohol comes out of your system faster than any other kind of drug. That's exactly why they use breathing devices, because the only way to catch them if they're trying to drink while being on, testing. That is why they chose to use breathing devices. So until they come up with something outside of that can test for alcohol now, in Massachusetts, we don't have anything else. We have other breathing devices. That's it. That's literally it. They're not going to do, I guess they must have been playing fiction, either that or you're just not simply telling the truth, because here in Massachusetts, there is no other one that they can use or they're going to use. They can give you urine tests for alcohol and drugs, but mostly it's for the drugs. If they think that you have a big problem with alcohol, like DUIs, or the main problem is just alcohol and not drugs, they're going to use a breathing device because it comes out of your system way too fast. You've seen it. That's why it doesn't move you. Why would it move me when I know better? I've sat in court for hundreds of hours. Hundreds of hours, dude. They use it specifically for alcohol for a reason. I'd be happy to show you. As a matter of fact, you can reach out to any lab that does drug and alcohol testing in Massachusetts, two of which that they predominantly use here for sober homes and sober houses, okay, for drug testing facilities. And they will tell you how fast alcohol comes out of your system. The state of Massachusetts, if you are being accused of using alcohol or, for instance, a DUI, you're getting a device lock on your car, not that you urine into, but that you breathe into. Now, why do you think that is? If they could just do it with urines, why do they do a breath test for you to be able to turn your car on? Because it comes out too fast. That's why. It comes out way too fast. That is why they use breathing devices. Well, that was one of the reasons why they wanted the alcohol testing, was the bachelorette party. Like, that was one of the reasons why they decided they were gonna use that. But the court, if it's just alcohol, that is the problem. They're going to use breath test. And since there is nothing else that has been made yet, science-wise, to, sort of be a different option, then that's what they use. So the judge isn't wrong. There was no other option that was going to measure that. They were not going to put her on urines for alcohol, because there is a way to, if she didn't get one, she got one 3 times a week and she decided to drink the other 2 days, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't be allowed to say it's positive because it would be under a certain amount, which is they literally measure it in your system. But okay, clearly you don't understand how drug tests work, and I'm trying to explain to you. Again, if I drink today and my drug test isn't until tomorrow, it is going to be under the threshold for a positive result. So that is considered negative. Even if it's in your system, it's under that amount. So it is considered negative, right? That's how drug testing is done. They can't and won't use urines if your main issue is alcohol and they think that you're going to drink and or drive, drink and or use and brandish deadly weapons or things of that nature. If alcohol is the force that's making you do this, they're not going to give you urines, because alcohol comes out of your urine way too quick. That's why they use breath tests. That's the whole reason why they use them.
Of a courtroom that she runs, we had other things we were trying to do in the SJC. We were trying to get her off the case. We didn't want to go back to her for any favors. Why would we ever go back to her for any favors? And the reason she was doing that was she saw the writing on the wall. She was trying to mitigate damages. She was trying to act like, oh, we knew we should have come back when she could breathe well, right away. And, Kelsey had the fortitude and the guts to try to stick it out and try to get the SJC. We trusted the SJC. She had the guts to stick it out to try to get to a decision where we thought they were going to go our way. Why would they take the case and then just uphold the judge? I don't get that at all. But we thought she was going to not only go our way, let her out,
because the judge was right.
Off the case. That's why Kelsey was willing to endure the whole thing, because we thought for sure that she was going to get kicked off the case based on that thumb drive of the recording of that day. And that was even before we knew the rest of what she was doing. So, that everything that we put in our recusal motion. So that was a really crazy stretch and just something I'd never experienced before. That never should have happened. She made a whole case of circus, and the whole thing should have been handled in 5 minutes, where she should have been allowed to do urine testing.
Right.
And one other thing, everybody says, "Oh, you didn't have any medical records." So she was out sick for she tried it for two days. She got sick. She couldn't do it. I thought we were good for going back there early. And you know how hard it is to get a trauma surgeon to write a letter? Courtney had to chase that guy around for like a month, like 3 weeks. And she almost got kicked out of Mass General because she was so persistent in it. And we didn't need it. She's being purposely obtuse. We had 2 affidavits that she couldn't do it. We had the assistant chief probation officer testifying in her favor.
I know. He didn't want her. January didn't want to go to jail either.
Right. It was ridiculous. And in any other county, that would have been 5 minutes. All right. I see what you're saying. Broken ribs. You can't breathe into the thing. All right. Urine test. You're on random urines. Get out of here. 5 minutes. And then she made it into this insane saga where her very life was at risk in jail as a cop and a CO. Ignored the fact that she was a cop and a CO, ignored the fact that the charges were radically reduced, and ignored the fact that she could get probation. The whole thing's ridiculous. And I can't believe the SJC backed that up. That was a real shame.
What's unfortunate, it is a silver lining with that is that it was so outrageous that is what garnered a lot of the support for Kelsey. That is what caught a lot of people's attention, was just the outrageousness of that.
Kind of get on the bus too.
Yeah, that was I wasn't paying that much attention before that. That was whoa.
I'm just not going to order someone
when I heard Jess Machado first got that audio,
every single day.
Oh my God, who pissed in her Cheerios?
Yeah,
what's her problem?
We just look at this kid. They're going to
put her in jail. Cool take all you want, but the SJC
we need to protect the community, for the safety of the community. She's going to go around shooting up. What are you talking about?
But had something else happened and everybody would have been like, well, thank God the judge did that, right? You can think the judge is cruel all you want, but they brought it all the way up to Massachusetts Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed with the judge and with me. So I don't agree that loss of liberty can be so cavalier, but I don't think it was in this case. When you try to remove conditions of release, then what are the conditions keeping you out? That's the whole point of conditions of release. That's literally the whole point. And I 100% agree with you, MG, there. Like, I wish there was another option, right? I really, really wish that there was another option, but that comes down to what's court approved, the cost of it, and if it has been proven to work or not work, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot that goes into that, you know? I mean, the court doesn't have another option for breath tests other than breath tests, right? Like, so that's kind of the problem. If we had something else that was court approved, then that they could have given her something else. But the judge wasn't wrong there. There isn't another option that is on the same level. You can't replace something with something way less, right? That's not going to work. So there's nothing that is equal to what the breath tests would have been. And that was the problem, right? I'm not disagreeing that we should probably have something by now via all the technology that exists in the world, right? I don't doubt that at all. But we don't have anything, right? We don't have anything court approved that the courts will allow you to use other than those breath tests. And the only thing they can replace those with are the breath tests. So, you know, until they get something that's court approved, it's going to be that way, unfortunately. You know, it's unfortunate. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have something else. I'm saying there just isn't right now. And that, again, that boils down to cost. That boils down to it being court approved, and then, it, you know, them being able to prove that it works and blah, 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 you know? Right, correct. And that is the problem, right? Like, that's what they want with alcohol specifically. So the courts prefer the breath tests because of the immediate response, because they can catch you right then and there if you're drinking, versus a urine that is not going to come up positive. It's going to be under the threshold of negative the next day, or even 2 days later. It's not going to be there. 12 to 48 hours, depending on how much you drink, like it's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. And so that is their problem. It's the detection time is influenced by your metabolism, body fat, the amount you consumed, and other things, you know? Oh, I'm sure they're definitely money makers for the scram companies. That's for damn sure, you know? Who knows how much one of those is to make, you know? The breath test directly measured your BAC in the lungs, which, you know, correlates to your blood. It provides a very accurate reading of your current status when it comes to alcohol, you know, and it's real-time data. Urine only shows that alcohol was consumed in the past, and it has to meet the threshold of being positive or negative on a test. If it's under this amount, then it's negative, even if it's in your system. If it's under this amount, it's negative because it can be in other products and things. So, like, that's the way it works, you know? Urine tests can also have a lot of false negatives and false positives. So they prefer to use the breath over the urine for that reason as well. It's also convenience and speed, you know? For monitoring sobriety in like probation and stuff, the urine, you know, have a detection window, but they're not used for assessing intoxication. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to know right now, not a day or two. They want to know right now if you are consuming alcohol. And because it comes out of your system so fast, that is the way that they do it. And they don't have anything that sort of compares to that. I'm not saying we shouldn't. We absolutely should have something. We just don't, right? And again, getting the court to approve something is a whole nother can of fucking worms, because that's going to boil down to costs that they usually pass off to the defendants. But in the case if the defendant is indigent, the court has to waive those costs, right? But the company still needs to be paid. So that means someone's got to pay it, right? Someone has to pay it. So that's a whole, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't just like a quick and easy fucking decision, you know? I mean, there are a lot of people who have had this test, like a lot of people who have been required to use a scram and other breathing devices, you know? No, not in jail, not someone in jail, outside of jail, so that she did, like, to keep her from going back to jail, basically. Yeah, proactive versus reactive, exactly. Well, you know, he wasn't paying attention. He never pays attention to shit. Can we agree that he never pays attention to anything but himself? He's really just mostly thinking about himself, you know? And that's the other thing. He was too busy torturing fucking Meredith and calling her names and trying to claim she did things she didn't do. You know what I mean? Like, again, and that's falling apart right now in front of our eyes, where we're seeing messages from people like Video Jesus and Purple Kool-Aid Guy and, Christy and all these other people, and seeing that they had no problem, keeping this narrative of Meredith sent out the recording when she did it. So all that's falling apart on Twitter right now. They are bananas. The gatekeeping is just crazy. It doesn't, like, who cares? You know what I mean? It's a lot of energy to be giving a shit. Like, the scram anklet used in other states. Yeah, we don't have that one, the skin secretion. So there's another different kind of scram too that uses something else different that Massachusetts doesn't have either. And there's one that they're just starting to use that very few people have had, But again, that's got to be approved by the court. There's nothing that is comparable to the breath test that has been approved by the court for use. And that's the problem, right? Yes, in time, I agree. No worries, Rando, my friend. No worries. Right, back to this shit show.
It's so outrageous. It don't even get me started.
It was the most outrageous
Absolute
thing I've experienced.
power.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it's the most.
What was that, Kelsey?
It's abuse of power.
Yes. And, it's hard not to take it personally, right? When the judge sends, I'll never forget Judge McCollum ever, because he chose to do that. It's hard not to take that personally.
I remember him. He just was sort of almost matter of fact about it. I was shocked that he did that. Yeah. It was so matter of fact.
It's just like it's so nonchalant. Like, who cares if this person has a family and kids that need to get there, or wherever. It's just like,
oh my God, is he lacking the understanding that he was a defendant and the judge sent him to jail because, I don't know. You broke the conditions, and not for nothing, but Aidan broke the conditions of his bail so many fucking times at this point. He's been given so many passes that at that point, like, the judge had every right to throw his ass in fucking jail. And no, they don't care if you have a family. No, they don't fucking care if you have a job that you're going to lose. No, they don't. You're a defendant in a court case. Believe me. There are plenty of people they've thrown in jail who actually weren't guilty of the things that they were being charged with, right? And they lost their children, their livelihood, their fucking car, their home, their place to live. And then the court used all those things against them, that they didn't have those things anymore because they threw them in jail for something they didn't even do, that they now have to prove that they didn't do. So imagine, right? You're someone like Aidan who did do what they're accusing you of doing. And you're bitching about being thrown in jail because you did something you weren't supposed to do. It's amazing to me the lack of fucking self-awareness this man has. It really fucking is. Like, she needs to not meet all those people. No, she needs to not. Listen, I'm a content creator, right? It would be in my benefit to say, oh yeah, I would love to do an interview with her. It would be in my benefit to do that. I highly suggest you stay the fuck away from any of those people, any YouTube at all, any interviews at all, until her family court stuff is done and over, right? Like, then you can talk to whoever the hell you want, but I wouldn't recommend talking to fucking anyone publicly until all of that family court nonsense is taken care of.
Yeah, whatever. Just throw you in. No, he's not going to lose any sleep at night. It's so messed up and so wrong. Especially in the state, Tim, where people get off a lot in this state. Like, it's a very liberal state when it comes to judges. So
on the back end of the case, yeah. But on the front end, they want to lock everybody up. They want to put everybody on a bracelet on drug testing, on everything. They're
drug testing, yeah. They make a lot of money on that.
Whenever there's an opportunity for the government to put a restriction on somebody, they inevitably will do it. And then they get addicted to it. And the judges realize that I'll just put everybody on a bracelet. And then my ass is covered.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Before I let you go, can we put a little more of this? Because I want to do a little more play-by-play. There's a couple points in here. I'm just seriously curious what you guys were talking about.
The work of police officers is especially fraught with peril today because of our extremely cynical, polarized atmosphere where our citizenry often
neutral.
So he said to Courtney, this is good because it's going to turn around and go our way. And then Kelsey turned to me, and I didn't want to get her hopes up. And I said, neutral. I wanted to make sure.
Well, it worked.
Conspiracy in this case. What I saw was dedicated public service, like Officer Beeman Union and his fellow officers doing the best they could under tragic, rapidly evolving promotion circumstances. What I also saw was a young woman, Ms. Fitzsimmons, who was also a dedicated public servant, react to some confusing and heartbreaking news. Now let me turn to the evidence and move on. Our system of justice requires you to decide this case solely.
What'd you say there?
Neutral.
And what was she saying there? You just kept asking.
How about now? Right, Kelsey?
Like, what's happening?
Okay, what's happening? So
the only things I considered impeaching my verdict are the 98 exhibits submitted during the trial and the testimony of the 11 witnesses that testified here in open court. While it may be cold and uncaring, our system of justice demands that emotion, sympathy, and concern for the consequences of my decision.
By the way, how'd you feel about this guy right behind you? I mean, did you?
Well,
The worst.
first of all, didn't
Can't see him.
give a shit about him, because if you play it back about 10 seconds, you need to look at Tim's knees, and
He's shaking.
he's shaking.
I was like going up, down, yeah.
He was like, all right, no matter what it is.
He was going too slow. I was going crazy.
Yeah,
He was
like,
supposed to, but I was
Tim
told
said
it
no
was
matter what
moved
it is,
to the 14th
It's
with the
okay.
other one.
It was.
Don't
it
give him the
was
satisfaction, right?
right?
this was Judge Carp's time to shine. He was enjoying this a
If,
little too
if,
much.
if you go back about 10 seconds, Courtney grabs Tim's knee on his left.
Okay.
I grabbed Tim's knee on his right at pretty
Well,
much.
maybe cold and uncaring. Our system of justice demands.
Look at him, look at him.
Sympathy, and
Look
concern
at the rat. Look at him. Look at him. He's like, she's like, calm down. She's like, calm down, Tim.
Courtney
Relax.
grabbed his knee and then looked like 2 seconds later.
Yeah. She's like, relax there, pal. Really, you guys are telling him to relax.
Yeah, right.
He's not the one that about
play no role in that decision. As for the law,
She just
in
did.
order to prove this citizen is guilty of the crime of assault by means of a dangerous weapon, the Commonwealth must prove the following three things in order to respond to these elements.
Meanwhile, Mark was like stoic over there.
Mark was what?
She's stoic.
Oh yeah, Bettero.
Martha.
Martha.
Sorry, Martha's just straight
Bettero.
edge. She's been there before.
Yeah.
Exactly what she's been
Bettero's
there
in the
before.
back,
Yeah.
bro. Like, he's not in the streets, Aidan. Hello.
The assault was committed by means of a dangerous weapon. The sole issue before you is whether the Commonwealth proves each of these three elements beyond a
Bettero.
reasonable doubt.
What?
And more specifically, under the circumstances of this case, the narrow issue before me is whether the Commonwealth proved beyond a reasonable doubt that this citizen pointed a firearm at Officer Newton for any perceptible amount of time. What is not before me are the reality of the issuance of a restraining order to Mr. Aidan, the reasonableness of the procedure used by the police to serve the restraining order, the legality of Officer Newton's use of force, and issues regarding custody of Katie. It is not my place to decide these issues or even mention my thoughts on them.
So that's neutral, right? You hear that? You're like, okay, nobody benefits from that. Right?
No, I will say that's when I knew.
That's when you knew.
Yeah.
Really? How come?
That's absolutely when I knew, because
She's a full-grown woman.
he
She's
talked
almost
about
30.
the officer
Definitely doesn't
that
need-
made these claims,
you know?
and he also talked about
And
my
she agreed to the
ex-fiance who made
conditions, yes.
certain claims. And I don't think he would
Right.
bring that up.
Why the SJC agreed.
That it wasn't his decision if those people thought what they thought. I don't think he would have said that if he was going to make a guilty verdict. So that's kind of when I knew.
You too, Tim. Sorry.
You know, you're right. I don't.
I'm good.
Keep going. Go a little more.
I'll play a little more.
He does the
I'm
big
thankful
buck
for this
kind of.
because
He
my
kind of
role
does the
has
big
been hard
buck.
enough. What has made my job especially difficult in this case is that by and large, I found the testimony of Officer Newton and Ms. Fitzsimmons to be credible on materials and relevant points.
Okay. A
He's
lot of
such an
people
ex-
thought it. A lot of
He
people
doesn't-
thought
he
it was
doesn't
over
wanna-
there.
Yeah.
Runkle said that as soon as he heard that, it was over because
Hmm.
if you're both credible somehow, then tide goes to the defendant.
Yes.
So did that have to make you feel good? I mean, I started feeling good when I heard that. And then he goes on.
In my experience, this is unusual and somewhat perplexing. On the one hand, Ms. Fitzsimmons credibly testified that she never pointed a firearm at Officer Newton. On the other hand, Officer Newton testified that not only did Ms. Fitzsimmons point a gun at him, but she also pulled the trigger. Both agree that it happened in seconds near a narrow doorway, and the crime scene photos show that the door frame was made narrower by a clothes rack containing police uniforms that was to Officer Newton's left. The door frame was also made, the door frame was made still narrower when Officer Newton used it to take cover when he threw his firearm.
Didn't like
One
that.
closing argument-
Didn't like that. I didn't
Mhm.
like that at all because he's starting
Agreed.
to get into like ways in which Noonan did nothing wrong and like that he could have, you know what I mean? I wasn't a fan of that. That made me, that's what I mean by a roller coaster. You're feeling good, then whoa. And then he says right here, this is what it
I
felt
would argue that it is scientifically and physically impossible for Ms. Fitzsimmons' story to be true because there was a bullet in the chamber and she said that Officer Newton shot her without ever
Are
having
they recording glasses?
ever wrapping the slide.
Because he
That's when
reads
I felt the
fucking
worst.
Twitter too
And he
much.
mentioned
Well,
that.
you
well,
know?
I knew that was going to be okay because Gubitosi overplayed his hand with the gun and the scientifically
I'm not saying there's
impossible stuff.
anything
Like
wrong
he
with
way overplayed his
giving-
hand there, and he kind
You're clearly not hearing my full argument. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with giving people the benefit of the doubt. I never said that there was. He was not just trying to remove the scram, though. He tried to remove 2 out of 3 of the conditions of release within 3 days of her being released. Common sense is if you're an attorney, you don't try to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions that you and your client just signed off on. You want to remove the scram, try for that important one, right? You don't then like it. Come on, like you can love Kelsey, you can want the best for her. I want the best for her. I want her to see her son. I want her to, get help with postpartum. It's a bitch, and I want all those things for her. All right, but she's also still a defendant in a case, just like me or anyone else would have been. And your attorney should never be trying to remove 2 out of the 3 conditions of release. That's why they're called conditions of release, because you are released because of those conditions. So if you're trying to remove 2 out of the 3 of those conditions in the first 3 days that you're out, you better be prepared for the judge to send you back to jail. That is why they're called conditions of release, because these are the conditions you have to follow to be released. Like that's, I mean, it's kind of common sense.
I did a jury closing. You know, you have to do a judge closing. You have to turn the dial down a little bit because judge.
You don't pull a gun out in court?
He pulled it out 3 times. There was an article in the New York Post just on his pulling the gun out.
Oh my God, I've seen this in so. They pulled out shotguns, handguns, knives. I mean, that happens in cases all. I don't know why anybody thinks that that's like some big rigmarole. I've seen that in cases all over the fucking country. Okay, it's to show what the sound makes. But never mind. It's not even a fucking thing that anybody should even be talking about. It's not some big crazy thing that happened. Like, it happens in cases all the time.
This little tiny article, and how he created this controversy by doing that 3 times.
Oh, for fuck's
like
sake.
I don't do that in like a double murder closing where you're really need to turn up the heat. I would, as a prosecutor, I would, you pick up the gun once and that's it. He picked up the gun 3 times.
That was insane. For one of the other really big conditions
and he
to be
placed
removed.
it like straight ahead.
Yeah, it was just like, dude, this is.
That was not good.
He was really being theatrical. Like that, like you said, that's something you do for a jury. Like the judge
People gave me crap for kind of dialing it down a little bit, but I know how you do a judge trial. That's how you do a judge trial.
You know,
you keep it on the merits and you kind of underplay things a little bit.
Glad you brought that up. A lot of people did give me crap for your closing. It was. What do you say to them?
Well, I've done a few of these bench trials, and it's a different animal. You want to choke off the government's avenues and opportunities for making points. So you keep it very minimal. And you know a little bit about that. We've been in that position. And, the judge asked us at sidebar, no character assassination,
he said that
he's calling her a liar, because of the thing about the dog. I mean, give me a break. He was way too over the top for that. That would have been fine for a jury, but you have to match.
Can I just say that my dog was on the restraining order? Can I say that?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of just a miscommunication, Kelsey, where I guess it was in the application where he wanted the dog, but I guess it didn't make the papers that were admitted into court as the exhibit. So I think it was just a miscommunication. I don't think it was fair for him to call her a liar for that.
A liar.
Either way, it was the intent. He wanted you not to have the dog. That's messed up.
And my dog was in my house during that time. He was staying with my dad because we had gone away for the weekend and my dad hadn't brought him back yet. And they asked me where my dog was. And the intent was there. Let me just say that. The intent was there.
I'm not going to make any dog jokes. I was going to make a funny joke there. I will tell it when you're off the screen. I had the funniest joke there. I didn't say it because I'm being mature here for my lawyer. Okay.
He's got a great dog, Maverick. He's adorable.
Maverick's a lovely dog.
I'm
for
being
sure.
mature for my lawyer. Help be mature for yourself.
Yeah. All right.
I disagree that the evidence reflected that the only chamber one would have been to pull the slide.
There it is. That's how you knew.
However, even if I assume that Mr. Simmons lied about not wrapping the slide, does not track the adequacy, the credibility of
I know.
They brought up the biggest piece of evidence that they had, that bullet in the chamber or whatever, and then he's like, but doesn't change. As soon as he said that, this is when it starts getting good.
Try being mature for yourself, bud. Not for your lawyer, but for yourself. Like for your own human being. You. Try being fucking, right? Like try to be. You want to know who used to call him a dweeb? Lindsay apparently called him a dweeb, and that really hurt his feefies. She called him a dweeb, and I forget what else she said to him, but she called him a fucking dweeb and something else, and that really hurt his feefies, apparently. Mass reported. It doesn't matter if you, so that's the thing. It's not about mass reports. It's about if different people at different times report you for the same thing, I guess. So like they have like I guess X has this thing of like, and I think YouTube as well, that mass reports aren't what's going to get you shut down. It's reports from multiple people at different times about the same thing, I guess. So mass reports isn't the thing that's going to, stop you, Yeah, I mean, I can agree, I can agree to disagree with you on certain things. It's fine. I mean, for me, I want there to be another option for people, right? I believe there should be an option for people. I don't believe that there should be a million conditions placed on someone who's on a pretrial probation, who hasn't been found guilty of a crime. Unfortunately, that's kind of just the way it works. And not that I want it to work that way. I would love if that's not the way that it works, because then what happens to the people who are, you know, fingered as committing a crime who didn't commit a crime? Now they have all these conditions and restrictions and restraints that they're supposed to be innocent, right, until found guilty, but the government's putting all these restrictions and restraints on them, right? But if they didn't put some restrictions and restraints, right, then the people who actually were guilty could go out and do all sorts of other shit while being released. So I get that there's got to be a balance, but at the same time, like, I know how it works already, you know what I mean? And nothing that they did here hasn't been done before. You know what I'm saying? In other cases, I wish there was another option to the scram. Massachusetts just doesn't have another option that's equal to what they want the results for and how quickly they want them when it comes to alcohol, right? They just don't have something that's equal to. Urines are just not equal to the scram breathalyzer sort of device, the breathing devices. I wish there was another one. You know, I wish there was another option, but it has to be like approved by the court. It's got to cost and all that, you know, happy horse shit. Don't get my like opinion of what is, you know, mixed up with what I think should happen. You know, those are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Well, you definitely don't want to agree to conditions you can't do. But I would say if you're shot in the lung, right? If your lung has been damaged, common sense would say that if you have to breathe into something and you were shot in the lung, that might be difficult, right? So I think that what they did was agree to the conditions too quickly to get her out of jail, and then wanted to remove those after, and was like, we'll get you out of jail first, and then we'll try to remove them after. The problem was Bradel was trying to remove 2 out of the 3 of them in a very short time span, which left them with just one condition, which isn't sufficient as a condition of release. You know, that's why she went back. You know, it's unfortunate. I'm not saying she should have, but that's why, you know. I mean, maybe she couldn't take a deep breath, but that's not here nor there. You'd have to think about, like, if you're agreeing to a device that you know you have to breathe in, right, then you might want to think about whether you can actually do it if you have lung damage from being shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be, like, nobody can tell me that none of that was thought about. They were just like, cool, I'll sign off on this breathing machine that we don't even know if maybe it could be a problem. Like, you know, you have been shot and you know it's affected your lung. You know, like some you gotta think about whether that adds up or not. You know, you can make your own determination on that. I know what I think. You know. Well, breathalyzers, they're not, so that's the thing. It's not like it's going to take a ton of lung capacity, but what the problem is with them is you have to breathe into them for not just a second. So it's not like, you have to keep breathing into it. That's the problem, is you have to go and keep going. So like, that's the problem, is that as you keep going, obviously you get less and less breath. So what happens is you fail it if you can't keep up a steady amount of breath for a certain period of time. Hold on a second. Hello. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I have to go get the kiddos from school. There's not much left to this anyway. There's like maybe 7 minutes ish. I will play it later. I'm gonna pop back on later for a little bit. But for now, I gotta go get the kiddos from school. So make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you already haven't. We appreciate, well, that's the other problem. We give judges way too much discretion over certain things. And I also think that shouldn't happen. And I think our judges should be voted in and not appointed, because we have a bigger problem when they're just voted in and are allowed to do whatever they want. But that's a whole nother story for another fucking day. But don't get my what I think should happen mixed up with what unfortunately is just what happens, right? Like, because those are two different things on what I think and what just already happens, right? But there's lots of discretion that happens in these scenarios, which is part of the problem. But I love your stinking faces, and I hope everybody has an amazing day. If you can contribute to the channel, we would more than appreciate it. We have a long run coming with the Just On Route case. We have a lot of documents, a lot of video, a lot of audio, all of this week, and we can use all the help we can get. Thank you, Valley's Girl. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, Grave. I appreciate you guys, and I will see y'all soon. Everybody have an amazing day. Bye.